We're going to do this for 2 hours.
Dude, it hurts my upper lip more than I thought it would.
You got to, like, work yourself into it.
Yeah, I can get more out.
What, you have to hold it down? You never played trumpet as a kid, did you?
I played trumpet, but it was an actual trumpet. But that one you go, and it tickles, so I hated it.
Yeah, I did learn from rim jobs.
It's true. Be an interesting family dynamic.
Yeah. Oh.
Wow, you can see my leg and everything this time around. Welcome to another episode of Wrestling on the Rocks. A little behind the scenes action here.
You're watching me pour and almost spill. I did not, though. I'm good. Would you like some of this, senor?
No, I'll just throw a little splash on the bottom. Today, I am out of Crown. That doesn't mean we don't want a sponsorship. It means we need a sponsorship.
Yes.
Because I've run out. And without a sponsorship, what am I supposed to do? So, this is what I decided I would do. Or do we need more?
Oh, I missed that.
I've got today Deep Eddy Peach, Austin's original peach flavored vodka from Austin, Texas, with real peach.
Deep.
There you go. There it goes. I'm hoping everybody got a chance to watch Takeover. It just came off the air a little bit ago. I know Clump has not. I know Kevlar has not.
Why do you say that? I could have watched it.
Man, if you did, you're fired.
Right. Well, yeah. Don't worry then.
There was once I was in the back room during doing repairs and I put on TLC. Yeah.
I was listening to Raw one time. I had the AirPods.
Oh yeah.
Eye leadership.
But we're not going to talk about Takeover tonight. We're going to get to that later on with the other show because there was only 5 matches. We're going to be able to cover that. But cool show, a lot of fun. I do think that if we want to judge Raw and SmackDown last week, as everyone did, as WWE's answer to AEW or to Double or Nothing, then we have to do the same thing to NXT. We have to say, is this your answer to AEW? And I will say, from a standpoint from that level, I was expecting more. I was definitely expecting from Takeover. If you want to judge Raw and SmackDown with, oh, this is your first outing since AEW, were you guys great or not? I would say that I felt that Takeover did not deliver on the level that I had expected, it being the first Takeover since AEW and so close to when it all took place. With that in mind, I still really enjoyed the show, and hope you guys enjoy this show. So today we're going to talk about Starrcast 2 and AEW's Double or Nothing. I got some notes here about stuff. As far as Starrcast 2 goes, it was just so entwined with AEW in every way that there was just a lot of times that it felt a little embarrassing to try and continue the narrative that this has nothing to do with AEW. It's just they're too entwined, and I get it that they're piggybacking off of it and they work together and all of that such. But it was an AEW production.
And I could agree with that. I think that, and I agree that piggybacking off it, I would do that. But maybe if you're going to do that, and you know it's going to happen, reduce the amount of the focus on the wrestling as a general whole convention and focus on making this an event to celebrate AEW or to celebrate independent promotions and not WWE. Because a lot of the talent, and by nature of WWE being the 800-pound gorilla, is going to be desired to be WWE talent. You want to have Undertaker or Bret Hart or these people who were making their names in WWE. Because it was so intertwined, as people disappeared, as things changed, you lose a lot of what it was, or what you wanted to be. And I know there's a lot of things you wanted to be that I don't think you got to have.
For sure. I do feel that out of as much as the advertisement was once in a lifetime experience, and this is a once in a lifetime this and that, I don't feel like I did anything that whole trip that felt like once in a lifetime. I didn't feel like, oh man, if I didn't get a chance to do this year, I'll never get to again. The closest I can come to is Kento
Kenta Kobashi. Yeah.
Kobashi, but I didn't actually meet him. He just was right next to me, and I was able to purchase an autograph that I watched him sign, which was cool. But when I think of like greatest moments that I had there and greatest moments in my wrestling fandom, that's not going to be high on my list. It's just not. Now I will say that with that in mind as well, I mean there's the blur that they want to have, and I understand why they wanted to have it because I also got to meet Mark Henry, and that was really big. That was really cool.
That is awesome.
I mean, he was wearing a WWE shirt,
Yeah.
polo with the logo on it. You know, Jerry Lawler. He was part of we're going to talk about it in just a second, a Remembering Owen panel, and he was wearing a shirt with the giant WWE logo on it. So I get it that if it's not truly an AEW production, then that allows you to have some of those stars, yes. I think the way it's being presented is just not being presented right. I don't know what the right way is yet. I don't, because I know that I went to another panel with Cody and the Young Bucks, and they were talking about the importance of Starrcast to the success of All In. That All In would not have been as successful without Starrcast and vice versa. That they definitely needed each other to be what they were, which was a really cool thought on it. And so that's why they wanted to bring back Starrcast again, because you're bringing in a lot of potential viewers, right?
Yeah.
But if you book it wrong, you're also letting down a lot of potential fans, right?
Yeah. And I think it's really cool that they said that. I wasn't at I was at Starrcast too. I wasn't at Double or Nothing. I was in Phoenix at a different comic convention. I wish I was there, but it is cool they said that because it was really part of it. It was something that they had to prove, but also because that event was attached to several different big indie promotions, they had a lot more talent. They had WWE people, but they had Ring of Honor and New Japan and
MLW.
a lot of different groups.
They had MLW there too. I don't know if there was any. I mean, I guess I don't know where everybody is on the indies. I don't, but
Yeah.
But my impression was that there was not MLW or ROH talent at this one.
I might also throw out something that this might sound a bit off, but maybe what also hurt Starrcast too so much was it wasn't so much that WWE wasn't working with them or they weren't working with WWE, because there was people there.
Yeah.
But Ring of Honor and NJPW, you could equally say they weren't here.
Yes.
Because you didn't have Juice Robinson there, did you?
No.
You didn't have Marty Scurll there, did you? You didn't have Jay Lethal there. You didn't have the Briscoes there. You didn't have they're not The Undertaker, but they're not big indie talents there from these other two big promotions. And they have been, if anything, more so than WWE, cool to AEW.
Yeah.
Whereas WWE has at least acknowledged it in a funny way, but you haven't seen Ring of Honor and NJPW talk about it at all, really.
Yeah.
And if they were working together, and I'm sure everyone wants to develop their own thing, you might have some cross talent. You know, there's a rather noticeable missing person at AEW, and that's Marty Scurll. And I would love to see him there.
Yeah.
But I know it's because he's in ROH, so included ROH and other promotions. You know?
I'd like to see Hammerstone make his way to AEW.
I'd like to see.
I think. I mean, I don't know enough about AEW yet, right?
Yeah.
But I know he's got a couple years, so I think it could be great. I think timing wise, it could be great for a guy like Hammerstone, where he could go to MLW 2-3 years or whatever the contract was, really build who he is and who he's going to be. I will say that between the first time I saw Hammerstone, which is not a lot, but he came out of a promotion locally here, and so he came back not that long ago and did another spot with them. And I will say that I thought he had improved leaps and bounds easily. Not that he was not impressive at all the first time I saw him, but I wasn't blown away the way I was when he came back, and I was like, okay, he's really stepped it up. He's getting a lot out of being there. So the idea of him going to another company afterwards, I think, could be great. But again, yeah, none of those types were there. I want to say that a number of those people were also announced at certain times and polled. Like, I thought Conan was announced at one time, and he definitely was not there.
I didn't see that. And I think there might, and it's possible because there's a couple really big ones that were announced and pulled, and it leaves a lot of questions. Even, I love this. I'm really proud of this. I'm really excited for this, but it left me with a lot of questions as to how did the Undertaker sign or how did you agree to the Undertaker coming there and then suddenly him have the ability to pull out in any, you know what I mean?
Because I think Conrad kind of mentioned it once in one of his interviews that ultimately he could have taken WWE to court, but are you going to beat WWE in court? And how long are they going to drag it on? If they just drag it on long enough for you to your show to go on without him, then it doesn't matter if you win. Okay, he can go to the show now that you guys already had. You know what I mean? So it's one of the things where they just say no, and they say if you want to fight us in court, we can do that. But it's lose-lose.
Yeah, and we talked about this at length a bit over time, and it's not. I'm not faulting WWE, and I'm not faulting AEW. I'm not faulting Conrad Thompson. I'm faulting everyone because there's no one failure point here. It's everyone, and it's hurting fans. And there were things that I think were kind of shitty, like the Once in a Lifetime or the Tom McGee match. Yeah, that was supposed to be this really amazing event, and then they played it on the WWE network a week before.
Yeah, but then I thought that the way that the Starrcast was saying it was going to be made me think, oh, they're going to make a big deal out of it. But they didn't. Bret Hart had a panel, and their response to it was they were just going to add Tom McGee at the end of Bret Hart's already established panel. So it wasn't going to be this big thing. It was just like, hey, Bret Hart's going to tell his story. He's going to talk about things. If you guys got the chance to watch Starrcast on Fight, that one, I feel like, as weird as it sounds, I feel like paying for the app access was probably a much better value than going and attempting to see the shows live. Yeah. I feel like that if you haven't seen any of the interviews or any of the panels, it's worth the, $50-$60 to be able to watch all of them. I don't know that they're all worth watching, but having them available, and I will say that the Dustin Rhodes, the Sting, the Bret Hart, the Arn Anderson are four that stick out in my mind as being the Remembering Owen. Those all stand out as ones where if I didn't get emotional, I had gotten pretty close to emotional, just being able to see the whole thing. So I would say that that's probably more worth the value otherwise. But they just tagged in Tom partway through, and then he came out, and Bret kind of talked over him a little bit. But then they just did a watch-along of the match, and then it was over.
Bret's not great at making people look good other than in the ring.
Yeah, when it comes to outside of the ring, he's not putting anyone over.
Yeah.
But
over that broomstick.
Yeah, but big fan of his. And I would say that this is, yes, there's the obvious lack of Kurt Angle, Undertaker, Ric Flair, and that horrible stuff, which also brought up a lot of questions too. If they said that it was a planned procedure and it was within a week's time of the actual thing, if it was planned, it seems to be like you planned it pretty tight, you know.
That falls. I would argue that falls more on Flair, or.
Potentially. I don't know whose fault it was, and I don't think that it's fair to blame anyone for that kind of health thing. So I don't want to, but it did bring up a lot of questions of like, wait, you're having a planned procedure 4 days before the event, and you thought you could go? I'm just confused, more than anything. It just didn't make sense. And I will say that beyond them, there were people who were supposed to be wandering the floors and said that they would be out there. Like Ron Funches said in an interview, he was going to be walking around talking to people and stuff like that. I saw him once right before his own show, and that was it. David Arquette was supposed to be out there walking around and stuff. Not at all. He showed up for his panel on the last day and left. He just was not present. He was, my understanding of some of these people, because one of my friends was talking to the people who were kind of running it on the side and stuff. And a lot of these people who were supposed to be present, who just kind of weren't seen walking around, were in the back. They just didn't want to go out there. They just didn't want to be around the fans.
Which is shitty.
So shitty. It's really cool that they wanted to hang out with their friends they haven't seen in a long time. But hey guys, we all spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars to come here and meet you guys and have this, quote, once in a lifetime experience in this big WrestleCon thing. And a lot of people just weren't there. One of them that, and it was also they split up the two locations. So you had Caesars and Tuscany. It was about a 20-something minute walk between the two of them. So you weren't going to be shooting back and forth and catching anything. So one night, I really wanted to meet Bill Apter. Wanted to meet him so long. Such a huge Andy Kaufman fan. I have this piece, this Andy Kaufman poster and I wanted to get it signed this trip by Jerry Lawler, Jimmy Hart, and Bill Apter. Bill Apter I thought was going to be one of the easier ones to find because, one person, Mark Henry, told me he saw him walking around on the floor the first day. He goes, yeah, he's here somewhere. You got to find him. And I went and talked to the PWI table, and they're like, oh, he's kind of all over the place. It's going to be hard to catch him. So I went to the karaoke thing that he was hosting and pulled him aside and talked to him for a minute, and that was cool. That was at the other location, late night. And then he told me he had, almost no intentions of being back at Caesars for the next, 4 days. And it's kind of like, well, shit, man. I'm lucky I came to the one thing.
Jeez, yeah.
If I didn't go to that, I would have walked away being like, man, I thought Bill Apter was supposed to be there.
I wonder, I get, part of it too is I get the draw of putting it in Vegas because that's awesome and that's a really easy thing to set people up at. But I wonder if that, because of the venue size and separating it, that makes no sense. Where I was at Phoenix Fan Fusion. It's the Comic-Con in Phoenix, Arizona. They were in two different venues, but they were across the damn street from each other.
Yeah.
And you could walk 5 minutes. And a lot of celebrities and talent were walking the floor or doing things or interacting with fans. I physically bumped into Jeff Goldblum. It's very weird.
Yeah.
He's exceedingly tall.
He's very tall.
And yeah, but...
I will say, though, I did have a fun time. I don't regret going, but I do feel that had I been given a price point and a tangible list of what I would walk away with, I don't think I would have made the same investment. I don't think I would have done it. I really don't.
Yeah.
Now, I'm glad I did it. I guess it's a double-edged sword there, or talking out of both sides of my mouth. I'm glad I went. I wouldn't have gone. I get that. It sounds weird. But I do feel like maybe what it is truly is I feel like I overpaid for what I got, and I felt deceived a lot along the way. I'm happy I got what I got, but I do feel a little bit. And what's also weird about that is without even that in mind, they kept putting shit on sale. You know what I mean? The stuff was ridiculously cheap for stuff when you looked at it, meeting Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah.
It was $30, man.
Well, and you kind of made, it was funny in that I had this joking thought, well, I might make a mystery box of the worst things I find here for you and Kev.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, they're not going to do anything. And then I was totally not expecting you bring two things, and now I feel like shit because I didn't get you something from Comic-Con. But
those Comic-Con boxes? I've gotten those before. Sometimes it's just the weirdest shit.
I was going to make you one with body pillows and stuff, because they had body pillows with characters and just the worst shit I could find. I thought that would be the best. I bought these comics because this dude hustled me into making me buy them.
Yeah.
Of a Korean superhero from the from the dynasty in Korea that I knew nothing about. He really pushed it, and I bought 10 comic books for $10.
Yeah. Eh. Not good. Not worth $10.
Not worth $10 for 10 comic books. and hustling like a motherfucker.
Yeah, sometimes they talk real fast. Let's see. Lido has a question. He's wondering if we like John Cena as a wrestler. Kind of off topic, but short answer is yes.
Yeah, he's been the face of the WWE for essentially 15 years at this point for a reason, and that's for all his criticism, he does always put up a good match.
I would challenge anyone with an honest view of work rate of watching a Punk and Cena match, and I challenge you to prove in any way that Cena didn't carry that entire match and make CM Punk look as good as he looked. Yeah. I'll say that every classic match I saw of CM Punk, because I really wanted to like him. I missed the CM Punk thing, and I was like, I just miss it. Everyone tells me that he's amazing. And there was a bunch of just John Cena and CM Punk matches being these classics, and constantly seeing Cena catch him when he slips, catching him being somewhere where he wasn't a second ago, because otherwise CM Punk was going to break his own neck. Putting himself out there, selling the crap out of Punk stuff. So I would say that that alone, I feel that CM Punk would not have been the star he was without Cena, and I think that that's not an accident. He says he doesn't like how Cena telegraphs so much. I don't think I know what he means.
That's the Cena, when you're in a thing, will yell out moves.
Yeah.
And maybe it's that. I don't know if that's what you mean. And I can get, there's some criticisms for Cena. However, I think you can't, outweigh what he's done. And part of it to me is even stuff you don't see in the ring is the dude's not a prima donna.
Yeah, I will say this is the way that he telegraphs this stuff. If that's what we're talking about, is him calling out stuff, gets the crowd to yell along with him,
Which is cool.
It provides crowd interaction, which is great. And I would say that people like Ronda Rousey did that a lot, talking and yelling to the fans in a way that did feel really annoying to me because it wasn't a crowd interaction thing. It was just like telling you that the match is over now. Like it was weird, and then it was, which is also weird because it was never like I mean, Cena would do the "you can't see me," and then sometimes it get reversed and stuff. With Ronda, that never happened. It was like, "You guys ready to see the end of the match?" And then she would end the match, and then it was ended, and you're like, "Why did you tell me it was ending?"
Well, it was a good indicator for you if you were in the bathroom and you could hear it, so you know you need to get back from the fucking bathroom.
That's a good point. Liddell thinks Shawn Michaels is the greatest of all time. I think there is an argument to be made for that. I do want us to stay a little bit on topic here, though. Getting back to Starrcast, we did open it up with remembering Owen and a Cody and Young Bucks panel. I liked it. I will say this, too. The Young Bucks walked by me a couple of times on the floor, and I thought, oh, cool. And I was kind of like, oh, hey, like, you know, not trying to like get anything out of them, but just looking for a hi, a head nod, a polite gesture of thank you to coming to our huge thing, and was totally cold-shouldered by them. I was even walking towards, I think, a bathroom or something at one point where they were being followed by like one dude with a camera as they're coming down, and I overheard them say, we better get out of here before some of these fans start trying to talk to you. And they said, yeah, we got to go. And I was all like, man, like the whole point of this thing is you guys are talking, like it didn't fit the narrative.
To be fair, I could see one thing there, and I think that is shitty to say, and you could figure out a better cue for it. A lot of this week's Being the Elite was filmed there, and there's a lot of shots there. So I could possibly see that.
Yeah, I saw one of the shots that were being made, because you had me watch it. I was like, oh, that was the one they were saying, get the fuck out of here.
I could see it being something like that, where it's like, yeah, we got to get past this, but I don't think that's the right way to say it. And and I wonder if, my hope is that's one off, because I've heard so many good stories of people interacting with them.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, but they really, really do that. And I mean, how was your interactions with Cody?
Surprising.
Did he touch you?
Yeah, he put his arm on me. Now, I'll say it's surprising because I wasn't a Cody fan. I didn't get a Cody meet and greet necessarily until they were doing the one with the cigars. And I was like, you know, I do want to try his cigars. And it was like, hey, meet him, meet Frank Kazarian, who, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't know who that was until I was there. And I asked someone, and they go, oh, from SCU? And I was like, oh. I hear SCU so much, I don't hear the names of the guys in it. But ultimately, I decided to get the meet and greet cigar thing. And then I found out that it wasn't just like shake your hand and hand you a cigar. They were doing it on the balcony. And you were just supposed to smoke your cigar. And they said they didn't want to do lines. They wanted him to walk around and take pictures and sign stuff for people.
Oh, that is really cool.
But then he didn't do that. And I was all like, So then they did make a line. And I will say that I know it wasn't Cody's fault at all, but I was stopped twice by staff telling me that he would not sign the 8x10 that they handed me that he didn't sign. And I said, but it's supposed to be signed by him. And they're like, he'll do it later. And I went back later and they said, yeah, he's not doing that. And I was like, but he's signing all of this other stuff. Like, this is the 8x10 you guys gave me when I walked through this door for this event. And it's signed by 2 out of the 3 people. I just want that third person. If it was Kaz, I'd walk over to Kaz right now. It just so happens that he's the one who didn't sign it.
Yeah.
If it was the dude in the middle, the business partner of theirs, I would have gone to him. I was just looking for the completion of the thing you gave me.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no way. And then as they're telling me no, I'm watching him sign Funko Pops for people, turnbuckles. And I'm all like, this is bullshit, man. So I know that it's not that he's not reasonably expecting to do some signatures. And he's also sitting with 4 markers in front of him. So I'm all like, so why is it he can sign everybody's stuff, but not the thing you guys gave me to have him sign?
It feels, this is sound weird. It feels like so... at other conventions I've gone to, where they're maybe new or something, you run into this like staffing thing. And staffing is always the fucking worst part of it.
Yeah.
Like, I've been at furry conventions where I'm taking photos or hanging out, and like there's this you'll have someone walk by who just not like person who's there as a talent or just to hang out. It's like, oh yeah, what's going on? Really cool. And then like a security guard walks up and gets in your face.
Yeah.
Because don't talk to them.
Yeah.
He
Get away.
talked to me.
You talk to me first.
What am I doing? Or just various levels to it. I mean.
Yeah. When we went to go to Royal Rumble Access, we met Sasha and Bailey. They tell us there's absolutely no touching the girls. Do not hug them. We understand Bailey is a hugger. That's her thing, but you cannot hug her. And I was like, okay. And I figured someone got handsy and they had to put a stop to it. Not a surprise. It's okay. I don't need to hug you.
Yeah.
Although there is that aspect of like, I don't get to hug the hugger. Come on. But I don't need to. I get it. I don't need to. And then as we're going up, Sasha goes up to my girlfriend to hug her. And my girlfriend goes, they told me I'm not allowed to hug you. And so Sasha was all like, okay. And then like walked off like fucking weirdo. And just like, they're yelling at me for what you want to do. Like, it's
Good
very...
job, producer.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, I do think it was absolutely a staffing thing. I don't think it was a Cody thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it was anybody else there. Kaz was walking around a little bit. Cody just did not walk around a lot. He was really staying to kind of where he was, which was kind of protected by those staffers. But they wouldn't let me do that. But I will say this, is when I did get a chance to meet him, because I did for a second, and they just told me he wasn't allowed to sign for, I don't know why. I told him, I said straight out, and I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't, because I also feel the constant need to be like thoroughly honest. Like I feel like honesty is such a big part of everything that I do and say that I didn't want to walk up to him and pretend like I've been his biggest fan forever. No. Like that's shitty. But I also felt like he just put on this big show, and he needs honesty right now. He needs it more than he needs praise, right? But if your honesty is also praised, then you come from a really genuine place and you give really genuine information, right? So I went over and I was like, look, I know this isn't a popular thing to start with. I was like, but 2 days ago? I was like, but yesterday? I was not a Cody fan. I said 2 days ago, I was not a Cody fan. I've not been a Cody fan, ever. I was like, yesterday, you made me a Cody fan. As I'm telling him this, and as I tell him that that match that he put on was emotional, and it was incredible, and it was like true wrestling, and I loved it, he's like interrupting me like twice to talk about his brother. How many times do you compliment people and they go, I wanted to do that for my brother. That was for my brother. I'm just happy my brother got to experience that. This is the stuff he was saying. And I'm all like, stop.
Don't make me cry, you
Don't make it worse.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You blonde piece of shit.
You're trying to like tell this dude how amazing he is, and he's trying to tell you how much he loves his brother, and you're all like, God damn it, man. Like, how do you not walk away as a fan from that dude at that point? Hey guys, tuning in. Looks like we got Commander Root, Icy Brooks. We got Apple Badapple. Hey guys, don't forget to put an I in following, little heart on top, and put a no in notifications. You don't have to watch again, but if you give us the follow, it does a lot for us. But ultimately, yeah, I will say that Cody was really cool at that thing. Surprisingly, I will say that I got a little choked up with how much. I'm just looking at him. He's just like dead-eyeing me, man. Talking about his brother. How much it meant to him to be able to provide that moment to his brother. I was like, fucking A, man.
Well, and you know that I didn't see all of the thing, but I think that's so sweet. And they stole the fucking show.
They did.
That match stole the show. I mean, everything. There was a decent card, but that match, I didn't expect much out of it. I expected because I think we've seen Dustin as Goldust for a long time, and he can go, but his moveset's kind of unique, and we don't see him in a long match. We see him usually in a comedy spot or a fast spot. Yeah. But he went, and it was fucking fantastic. The weakest spot of that entire match is Cody's opening. The smashing the Triple H thing. I think it's the only thing because it's just like, it's okay.
Yeah. We'll get to that in just a second. I'm ready to wrap up Starrcast overall. Yep. But I will say that it was some amazing stuff. Meeting the NWO straight off the bat was absolutely incredible. I mean, to be able to stand there in a picture with 4 people who loved the business so much they decided they were going to forever change it, that's a pretty rare moment. I did get them all going. It was funny. I walked over and I do the Too Sweet, and I was like, this was a very forward-thinking, hygienically sound thing to do for meet and greets for the rest of your guys' lives. And then Scott Hall starts saying, like, I stole it from the Freebirds, man. And I was like, what? And he goes, they used to do Nabes. He goes, Nabes, remember Nabes? And then Kevin and Scott Hall are like, I hear Sean Waltman just go, man, I haven't heard about Nabes in so long. And Kevin's all like, no one wants to hear about how much you love the Freebirds anymore, man. And then all four of them start laughing. And so the picture I have of them is really good because they're all four laughing. And
That's
so
awesome.
it was really cool. Let's see, Sting's panel was great. His meet and greet felt a little bit like keep it moving, but I will say that I told him I walked over and I just shook his hand and said, thanks so much. And I was like, I want to do the yell. And he's like, hold on, I'm chewing gum. And he's like moves it around and he just goes like, and so we're both like, it was really good. So he was cool and personable, but I also felt like he's an old-time pro of, hey, let's get 500 people through here in the next hour, you know?
We're doing this now.
Yeah, we're doing it. Let's see, after that, I met JR and the King, and that was funny. So meeting JR and the King is I had that Andy Kaufman picture to have Lawler sign, and I had a picture that Lawler had previously signed for me of him and JR. So I put the JR one in front of JR, and I put the poster in front of Lawler. And then I start telling Lawler about the gift bag that I got from him. He's like, it's worth the value, right? Like, you got your value. And I was like, every penny, dude. And then when I come around back, Jim Ross has signed the one thing and moved it to the side, and then he starts looking at the poster, and he starts going like, oh, that's really cool, and then he starts asking Lawler about it, and him and Lawler are just having a conversation about this poster, who makes it. I chime in a little bit, and then Jim Ross is just like, oh, that's so cool, and then he just goes, huh, and then he just signs it, and I was all like, you weren't involved in that. like it was funny, because I mean, even as he signed it, I kind of looked down, and I looked up at the dude, and the guy's like, the guy who's like about to take the picture, he's like, sorry. And I was like, it's funny. Like, what are you going to do? Hey, JR, don't sign that. But at the same time, he was in the movie.
It'd be funny if they pulled away mid-scroll. Like,
Yeah. So I will say that makes the King one of two people who gave me 2 autographs when they were told to give me 1. The other one being Taz. Meeting Taz was also amazing. He signed an 8x10 for me. He signed a bottle of water for me for his H2O Jones gimmick. And he was really cool. He just wanted to talk. He wanted to stop and talk. Hey, man, how you doing? I was like, hey, what's up? And then he was like, you listening to the show? And I was like, yeah. I was like, first episode I ever listened to was Conrad. Listen to all of them. And now I think, fuck, there's 700 of these I got to get through now. Because they're so good. And he starts laughing. He goes, really? He goes, that's cool. And he goes, well, it's good to talk to a guy like you because, you know, I've been doing it so long. It's like, how do I start reaching other people and stuff? And so we talked for like a couple of minutes. And then he was all like, cool, let's have you sign this thing. Because they're starting like, look at me like, hey, keep it moving. I was like, he's chatting away, dude. And I was watching him do it. I was watching him do it with everybody. He was chatting up everybody. And I think that it's part of the reason that is because he doesn't do them often. So I think for him, he had a different outlook than a lot of people. Him and Kenta both, who don't do them much, were the happiest people to meet the fans. They were really getting in there. You know, Kenta's putting his arm around people and just laughing and smiling. And no one knows what he's even saying. You know what I mean? Like, these are dudes who don't do it much. So they haven't been tainted by the days of, look, we're going long, we're going to have to tell people to go home, or look, you have to really speed this up. So they're chill to talk to that way. Let's see, Meet and X-Pac was dope. The Bret Hart panel, X-Pac show panel.
I interrupt you real quick. Alex says your mustache is amazing.
The Levin the Dream?
Yeah, Levin the Dream.
Yeah, what do you mean? I've always had a mustache. I've had a mustache literally as long as he's known me.
You've had okay, so what's happened is you've had a mustache and the whole family's the face. You've just killed off the rest of the kids.
Yeah, no, I don't like kids, man.
That's fair.
Jimmy Hart meet and greet was fun. The Mooney promo, it was really good. You guys are going to see that. But let's see. And then with Something You Wrestle With was really good. Got to meet Dustin and Bruce. Now, I will say that I was originally going to meet Dustin the first day, that Thursday. And on that meet and greet, so here's a couple things about Starrcast that was very, very misleading. To roll back just a second to the Mooney promo, the description said Mooney will be rolling out or dusting off his tuxedo, and you can cut a retro promo with the 1980s New York heel locker room backdrop. And they said, we are recreating that locker room. Cool. Not only was he not in a tuxedo, he was in a blue suit with no tie. And not only was it not the backdrop of a very specific locker room, it literally just said "Fight Starrcast" on a giant panel behind us. That was not at all what was advertised, and they just said, "Oh yeah, we're not doing it." The Tony Schiavone one had a backdrop, but the promo for Mooney did not.
Sounds like he was wearing what he would wear if he was doing news in a local market.
No, because on news you got to like button up that top button and put on a tie. It looked like you just ran into him at a bar after work.
After a really hard story.
Yeah. I mean, he was super nice and cool.
Right.
Everything about him was awesome, but I was like, that's not dusting off your tux and putting up the right backdrop. The other thing was that Dustin was advertised as having his gold dust face paint on for his meet and greet. He did the first day, but not the other one. So it was one where I'm glad he didn't have it on, because of the picture I have was the day after Double or Nothing. He's got a big old bandage on his head.
Yeah.
So there's like definitely this whole like moment in time aspect to that, which I really appreciated. But at the end of the day, if I were to sit down and list all the things you guys told me I would get that you did not, gold dust in his paint was one of them. Promo with Mooney in that backdrop would be another one.
Wait till Wednesday, I'll give you gold dust and paint.
Yeah, I want to say that they said that Sting was going to be in Wolfpack paint. He wasn't, but I didn't care about that so much. But I was like, I could have sworn I read somewhere. But apart from that, it was really cool to end it and having a cigar with Dustin Rhodes at that thing and hanging out a little bit with some of those people. But apart from that, that kind of brings us to the end of Starrcast. I would say this: if anybody's in Chicago or knows anybody going to Chicago or anything like that for the next All Out, they're going to be having a Starrcast. It sounds like it's in the same location they did the previous year.
The Sears Center for now?
No, I thought they said like Hyatt something. No, are you talking about the show?
The show itself.
No, I'm talking about Starrcast.
Yeah.
So they're saying Starrcast was going to be in the same place. If that's true, then it might be worth getting the bracelets, because I heard those things sold out fast. I will say this is, at the end of the day, Starrcast did not care about how much money you spent. It was all good to them as long as you spent more. They did also, they did more things that hurt the people who spent the most to begin with, right? So to get the platinum bracelet, it was almost $300. To get the gold, it was almost $200. Now, none of these panels, because they said, oh, you're guaranteed a seat in one or the other. One of them's gonna fill up, and so then you'll have to do the other one, kind of a deal on the stages. Not true. Not even remotely true. None of them were even half true. I don't know. I wish you wouldn't do that and disrupt me in the middle of talking. I have no idea what I was saying.
This is why we drink. Kidding.
Oh, and so the thing about the platinum and gold bracelets was it gave you a chance to purchase the meet and greets early, so before they would sell out, you had a chance to buy them. None of them sold out. Not before General Admission came out. None of them, because it was all like, hey, there's going to be platinum are going to get it for a day, then gold will get it for a day, and then we'll release it to everyone. Nothing sold out to bracelet holders at any point. So if you got platinum, you paid full price for all of your things thinking they may sell out. The last 2 weeks, they put almost every single meet and greet, except for a handful, like 4 or 5, 50% off. So if you waited, you spent less than everyone. And if you invested early to try and make sure you had it, you spent over double what everyone else spent. How does that make you feel, like, to go there and be like, oh, everyone in line, this guy in line in front of me spent half the money I spent, maybe even less. If someone got a day pass in that same meet and greet when it was on sale, they spent like a third of what you spent, maybe even a fourth. And this guy's like 2 in front of you in line.
And
it's
if
like,
you're gonna have that, rather than make that extra money, you learn from it. Try and do it. If you have something that doesn't sell out, allocate more time. Let them, if they want to be like Taz, or encourage them to be like Taz. Whereas Sting is good at getting 500 people through in an hour, Taz is good at getting 10.
yeah.
Maybe 9.
And I will say, it doesn't take much to make a fan feel appreciated or have that moment. Talking to people too, ooh, what was this person like when you met him? Oh, I met this person. This person was great. And you asked them how it was, and it was all like, oh, I said this thing, and they smiled. Oh, they said one more extra thing to me. Yeah. Like, and I'm a part of that too. I met Randy Orton, and I was doing the ref gimmick and having them hold up titles. I got one was Asuka, Becky, and Seth, and they're all holding up the title, and I'm holding up their hand doing a thing. And I went to Orton to do it, and he's all like, no. And I was like, what? And he's all like, I get it, man. You got the ref thing. He's like, but we don't need to do that. He goes, I'll either put it on my shoulder, we just won't use it. And I was all like, yeah, it's fine, just drop it, we'll just do a thing. And he goes, all right. And so then we just did it, and he was like, does the thing. And then as I'm walking away, he like stopped me. And he was all like, hey man, I just want you to know I really appreciate you coming out. It means a lot that you come out and support us. And I really do appreciate that you spent the money and you're taking the time and you're here to see me. He goes, thank you so much. And I was like, cool. He gave me those 2 extra sentences to be all like, I'm not trying to be a dick. I just don't want to be goofy. And you're kind of like, I get it. It's fine. Not everyone has to be goofy.
That is the most Randy Orton sentence ever.
What?
I'm not trying to be a dick. I just don't want to be goofy.
Yeah. And that's totally fine. And that's what it felt like. And when I walked away, I didn't feel like he was an asshole at all. I felt like he was a really cool guy who just didn't want to look goofy.
Yeah.
And that's fine. He takes everything about his persona and his work very, very seriously. And hell, that's probably why we like him so fucking much. Yeah. So I couldn't knock the dude. And so I would say it just takes those little tiny seconds to make someone feel like really cool. And I mean, when I was at that same convention, Rob Van Dam's walking down the hallway. And I went, oh shit. And he kind of does like this. And I was like, and he's just kind of like trying to scoot by. But then he kind of looks at me and goes, and I was like, fuck yeah, I'll see you in a minute. And like, I'll be honest with you, I knew he was going to be there, and I was on the fence if I was going to buy the meet and greet for him. But literally, him stopping, looking at me, and doing that, I was like, I'll buy it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take much to say that dude was being cool when other people don't have to be. As long as you just don't cold shoulder people. Yeah. Just be a genuine, hey, I'm in a hurry, I'm not trying to get stopped, and it's a meet and greet. I'm also not trying to take advantage of these people. There's a lot of people who will sit on the entrance and exits to take a bunch of pictures and try to get autographs, avoiding paying for the thing that they're here to sell. Like, okay, that's shitty. And I know, I get that too. So I understand what they're trying to deflect from as well. But
one, it's something that's just cult, like, as a thing with people. It's so easy to ruin something, but it's also real easy. Just make it better. I mean, with a friend of mine at a different kind of convention, in a full cosplay thing, I was going to meet 2 characters from a very famous spooky show on Netflix, Stranger Things. Gets to the front, nobody told them anything, get in there, and then when they're there and they paid money to get there, you have to take out the costume. Nobody at any point, multiple people they talked to online said anything, and they're like, okay, and they take it off. Well, they're in this full costume, so they're kind of sweaty, and they both like visibly like, oh, and like in the picture kind of like weird, and it's like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
And like they made no effort, and then she reached out to the convention. It was a different, like, it was evidently something with the talent, which again speaks to, if you are in this spot, you're in a public thing, you don't have to be the best person, you don't have to change who you are, but just give that little bit if you need to change something.
Yeah, you got to be on, if someone's paying literally to meet you, then you have to put on that little bit of a show for a second. It's one thing if someone comes up to you and you're outside. Yeah. This isn't the element. Like, I got a friend, they ran into Patrick Stewart. She was really drunk and reaches out, Patrick, and he's like, what the fuck? And goes and shakes her hand, and then she's all like, I love you so much, I just want to get a picture with you. And he just goes, I'm sorry, dear, this is not the time for that. You know? And so she just went, oh, okay, thank you. Like, that's all you had to do is, like, it's also, you're right. This isn't the time or place for that. Yeah. He's doing other things. You saw him at a bar. He was there. Actually, he was there because his daughter's in a band and she's really talented. So, but it was like, I get in those instances, but if someone's already paid the ticket just to meet you for literally a minute and get a picture with you, it's up to your job now is to make that person feel like it was worth that. And all that has to do is just be a human. Yeah. So just a little humanity goes a long way in that stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Let's go to Double or Nothing. If anything comes up in Double or Nothing that makes me speak back to Starrcast, then I'll say so. But I will say that the Starrcast was fun. I would say that I don't know if I would jump at the idea of doing another event put on by the same people. I just don't know. And I'm a big fan of those people. So yeah. I will say that app they put together was just trash. The app was absolutely terrible. The last thing about Stark. Well, no, we'll get to that at the end. So, Double or Nothing pre-show. Did you get to watch the pre-show at least? Did you put that
I watched that all on YouTube. That's up on YouTube.
What? Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Battle Royal and Sammy Guevara.
What'd you think of the Battle Royal?
I liked it. I think it was, I mean, I don't know about the card part of it. I think it was a good way to build drama. I don't think, okay, overall, we'll get more specifically into it. I think it was a good, fun, silly Battle Royal. It was and it established some talent. Some people look good, but it's a good, silly way to establish talent. Now, I don't think it's great that you set up this rule for you have these cards and you come out like that, and then you bring out another fucking person after, your Joker comes out, when Orange Cassidy comes out, and you're like, and I like Orange Cassidy. I know you don't, but I do. But I was kind of, why?
Yeah.
He could have come out at any point. He could have been in that last group and done something and looked awesome.
Yeah, he didn't need to come out as the Joker at all.
No, he wasn't the Joker.
He came out after the Joker?
Yeah, the Joker was Hangman Page.
Oh, yeah.
Which was great.
And they never explained Orange Cassidy's entrance either. He just was there all of a sudden. Here's the thing, is the Battle Royal, if I was not at a viewing party, if honestly I was watching a new promotion, this is the first thing you're ever putting on TV, you're telling me you're taking sports entertainment to the sports level, wins and losses are going to matter, we are a sports entity, we're going back to wrestling, we're not going to be hokey, we're not doing these dumb gimmicky things, and then the first thing I watch is a 22 Battle Royal.
22 man, yeah.
I mean, it was supposed to be 21. I will say this for Cody's sake, is in the panel beforehand, his catchphrase of the night was, I didn't go to college. And as he was doing different stuff, and he goes, we found out last night I booked 22 people for the 20-man Battle Royal. And they're like, what? And he's like, look, I didn't go to college. And it was really funny, but at the same time, it made me go, oh, does that mean they're putting Paige into the Battle Royal? That's what I thought. Because I was like, let's be honest.
Good job, Cody.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, does that mean Paige is going to be in a Battle Royal and he's going to win it? Like, that's what I thought immediately, because it was like, okay, why do they put this weird stipulation? Here's the other thing. Your stipulation was number one contender for the title. You want to tell me that 21 other people besides Paige in there really had an honest shot at being a champion? Your flagship bearer?
To be fair, a Royal Rumble match, and why I love a Royal Rumble match, is it is a story, but it also has comedy moments. It's a movie. Mm-hmm. There will be funny moments in it, and I think maybe I know they've talked about it being a sporting event. There needs to be comedy, and I'm happy to see that, because
there does, but this is the first thing you showed me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We had glacier spray mist at a guy.
Twice.
And freeze them.
He froze them. It was good.
So stupid.
And also that guy was built like me.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
You had Marco Stunt in there, who, by the way, is amazing at karaoke.
Yeah.
I saw him at karaoke the weekend. Marco Stunt's in there. You want to tell me he's going to have a shot against Jericho? You want to tell me he's got a shot against Tommy Dreamer? And he wasn't the only person that small. There was a lot of tiny people.
Well, he was the smallest, but then, Jungle Boy, Jungle Boy looked good, though, which I did appreciate. And I think it was silly, but I think it was by design a way to show several things, but I think it could have balanced more. And then it could have been more balanced.
It was not balanced at all. I will say this, is there was, most of the match was everyone moving very unnaturally, going from their spot to their spot. Even when Marco Stunt gets removed, when he's ejected, do you remember how that happened? He goes towards one ropes, the other guy goes towards the other, and then they catch up and he picks him up and throws them. That was the most unnatural set of movements of all. What were you fucking trying to do? When you watch it, you go, oh, they're going to do the thing where he throws them out, because there's no other outcome for that set of movement. So I will say that everyone was doing their best to stay out of the match. Mm-hmm. They would constantly roll out, and then they would oversell just an elbow to be out of it, so then two people could do their spot. Now they're out, so now the next two people come in, they do their spot. I will say that it was, if you showed me this match after all the things you guys said it was going to be, and then expecting me to spend $50 to watch more of this, I would have said absolutely not. The other thing I thought was the worst part about that gimmick with the suits is they just listed off names of people as they came out. I don't know who the fuck is who, man.
Well, and the thing that was funny as hell, and I think, it could have done with an intro. I think it would have added a lot of time to it, but God, I would have loved it. Take an hour, make your pre-show an hour longer to go over talent. Like the WWE UK tournament, the first one, It was longer, but part of it was like, we're going to show you who these people are because you ain't going to know who the fuck they are.
You don't know who they are. And that's what I felt like a lot of that Battle Royale. I was trying to figure out who the fuck is who. I will say MJF I figured out pretty early on because of other things. I will say that he did a good showing. I'll also say this. I don't want to shit on it all night or nothing. I don't agree much with what Cornette says most of the time. His AEW show he put out, I had a hard time disagreeing with most of it. And at the end of the day, yes, that Battle Royal was funny. It would be funny on a weekly show 3-4 months in.
But not in their first.
But this is the first thing you showed me. My stomach sunk watching that because I don't know all these people. And I know some of them, and I've heard of some of them, and I was like excited to see it. And then when I watched it, I was like, is this what I'm getting? You know what I mean?
Maybe another way to think of it, I think part of it too was like, and through watching Being the Elite, watching, like highlight shows for like people I love like Kevin Owens and seeing like the amount of just comedy spots in like PWG or other indie promotions. Maybe it was that is like, we're going to do, this is getting the comedy shit out that are part of some indie shows, just get it done now. But it could have also been shorter in that case.
It could have been. I do think this is...
It could have been one point together. There was that big gap in the beginning where they announced the suit and it was like 4 fucking minutes for them to get out and it was weird.
There was a lot of technical difficulties. There was a lot of camera angle issues. What was it? Someone posted a spot for Flying Brian when he came in. He jumped springboards off the top. As he's springboarding, the camera cuts away to a ref on the outside. You see him connect and then it cuts back. And then Flying Brian made a comment on Jeff. He goes, man, that camera cut. And I'm all like,
Yep.
Yeah. Here's your fucking comp. Like, I mean, I wish they didn't put so much effort into trying to say that they were going to be competition for WWE. Get there. Don't say it and then not be able to produce on that level. The commentary was awful. The camera work was shoddy.
Yeah, there was one of the one that really annoyed the shit out of me, and I didn't like. You can tell me all day long how inspirational it is for the WMPT guy to be there. It kind of was fucked up to have him just get kicked over and over again and then just sit in the corner and have him say such an inspiration as he just got kicked. It's like, it doesn't come off as funny. It just comes off almost like, oh, we got to talk about this fucker. And Excalibur was good. The other guy was kind of, okay, motherfucker, talk.
Good, but yes, right? So he didn't talk much. But then you had the Orange Cassidy stuff. Orange Cassidy comes in there and starts tapping Tommy Dreamer's legs. And then Excalibur goes like, oh my God, those devastating kicks. Are you the joke or is he the joke?
Well, the joke is that they sell them like that. Sometimes when Orange Cassidy will do it, you'll have the ref go, oh, and it is part of it. And
it comes off stupid in the first time I've ever seen it, right? This is your first major platform. And it really felt like this was a show for no new audiences. That's what it came off to me as, is if you're not in the know, then you don't fucking deserve to know.
That is fair. Because the other thing is, if you're going to invest people in trying to show it, let's say it's Starrcast or things, maybe putting in Being Delete, the people that are going to watch this, put in more videos of the people you're doing. Like, we had some highlights of people.
But why do I have to watch YouTube? This is your first presentation to me. It could have been a lot more clear. Don't do a fucking 25 people in a match.
Well, I'm saying, like, I got you, but I'm saying, like, prior to it, I mean, and part of it is YouTube isn't, I've never knocked the YouTube part of it because YouTube in many ways it's a different platform.
It is a different platform. You're trying to tell me you're a national primetime TV platform.
Part of it is that, but also, I mean, so is WWE's the most watched YouTube channel, essentially.
Yeah, after it's gone live.
They didn't have the ability to go live, though, so they had to go there first.
Correct, so they went there first. But now you're telling me that, for one, if I didn't watch all of Being the Elite, then I'm not going to know this stuff. Oh. 2, I'm not going to get the humor. Because I will say there's a lot of their whole backstage thing with the Young Bucks going through and kicking that dude. I didn't like any of that. And the camera work I didn't like either. Because it was like everyone was out of focus and it was trying to focus. And I couldn't tell if it was supposed to be that way or if they were just actually having a hard time focusing a camera. But, they were filming it on phones?
Like the Osmo things?
Yeah. So I'll say that I didn't like how gimmicky it was for what it was. It gave me a sinking feeling about what am I about to get into. It also felt really obvious. I will say Adam Page, the Final Four, I thought looked great. It wasn't until the Final Four that I thought, okay, now we're seeing some actual quality in here. But it took a long time for me to get there. I still don't know who most of your people are. I don't understand why they're in the ring. I agree with you about the double amputee issue. I think that was a glaring issue that was not presented correctly. I think it didn't make Sean Spears look good getting tossed out by the dude. Realistically.
Yeah, and that did upset me. Because Sean Spears actually looked decent coming out. I was like, that's awesome. Because I know, and we've talked about pulling people from WWE into this, and I think you need to grow talent, but I know part of it. So Cody and him are really close.
Yeah.
And I wish he were featured a bit better because he looked good. And I think it'd be a good chance because for a lot of people, they didn't get to see Sean Spears. They saw Ty Dillinger, and even that was pretty brief.
Yeah, and then on top of that, now what are you building towards? For him to have a fucking feud with this double amputee? How does that look? How does it come off? And if you want me to take it seriously, let's take it seriously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and if you're telling me you left WWE because you didn't like their creative, but you want to run to AEW so you can have a comedy feud with a dude with no legs, I don't get what you're coming from. Like, it's just, to me, confusing, and I didn't like it. It was too jumbled. I didn't like the promo that they did with Kylie Rae and the Librarians. It was actually way long, the shushing, and really loud. It actually like hurt my ears a little bit.
It could have gone significantly shorter there. I think it was funny, but yeah, I could have stopped. The only thing I thought was funny is I liked Kylie Rae's just like giggling in background because I think I like that character.
I like her character. She's gonna have a hard time proving that she's not Bayley. Because like it or not, and they brought it up in the Cornette thing, whether she did it before Bayley or not, it's not a question. The bottom line is everybody knows Bayley now, and you're going to have to change your gimmick. You know what I mean? Because it's just too close to Bayley. She's going to have to change it up. But I liked her. I did like her in her match, too. Let's see. The camera, I did find it frustrating that they kept trying to say sold out audience, and the camera kept sweeping the audience, and you could see empty seats left and right. And it was kind of like, just focus on an area that's clustered, push people together. You know what I mean? Like, do things to make it, if it's not, then stop saying it is, and stop making it obvious. Or just stop cutting to those parts of the audience. I'm sure there's parts where there's all full.
Yeah.
Like, why did you come to the spot where there's a couple of people who went to bathroom break or something, you know? Even the front row had seats without people. And I was like, just stop saying sold out when you do that. You know what I mean? Let's see. I didn't care much for the Kip Saban or Guevara match either. I didn't understand what was going on there either, to be honest. I thought it was insane that they put 2 sunset flips in a match and that there was a 630 in that match. This show had several 630s and 619s, and I couldn't tell if they were just trying to weaken everybody's finisher or just try to be like, look at the coolest move I know.
Sometimes it does feel like it's long. It did, and then back to legless guy I noticed in the prior match.
Yeah.
Seriously. That's I don't want to knock. I'm sure it's a inspiring story and there's things to do.
Yeah.
Don't do dipshit things like that. And I don't know if that's your move, but it doesn't look good. Sporting or not, comedy or not, it looks so goddamn dumb to do that. And then I was gonna say one other thing in the battle royal that really bugged me in terms of camera angles. So Joey Janela and Jimmy Havoc, who I like both of them a lot. That spot with a cigarette, and you don't see it even.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then it's like, oh, he's got a cigarette put on his head, and it's barely seen. It's like, dude, that's cool. Do that. They focused on a lot of people broadly, but they didn't. So New Japan does camera angles different. New Japan typically focuses way out. They don't stick a camera and keep jumping around. They basically have one big camera over the ring and set it so you can see a lot. Yeah. And when they cut to cameras outside, it's seldom and for a reason, and they usually zoom rather than do like a telephoto really tight, like a macro shot.
Yeah.
And it's good. That would be cool. I think that would have a really good place in American professional wrestling. Yeah. Rather than making this exactly WWE.
That was just it too, is I felt like they were just right down the middle. Like, I mean, I'm almost halfway through the show before I even started liking it, really. But there was so much of it that felt like, hey, we want to say we're like WWE, but we can't do it. There was a lot that felt like, it's just a televised American NJPW type show. It felt a lot like, well, if you don't already know, you're not going to know. But, I mean, like I said, it wasn't all bad. I didn't Dislike all of it.
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, I mean, there's just a bunch of little things that were dumb. The announcer called the truck that they pulled up in a limousine. He goes, "Oh, what's this limousine pulling up?" And it's clearly a flatbed truck. And Cody gets out. And I was like, does he not know the difference between a truck and a limousine? Right?
And I think almost you can make it a parody if you went further, but it's that thing where it's like when you have ass it, like if you're gonna, and it's not intentional, but if it would be funny if it were intentional, they went further. But no, it's just you can see you fucked up. It almost feels like when you watch The Room, and then you hear Tommy Wiseau afterwards saying it was all intentional. It's like,
yeah,
come on, buddy.
100%.
Yeah.
I will say Young Bucks promo felt similar. It was a lot of overacting. The cameras were super slow to focus on the subject, and I just was not into it. I went and watched some other Being the Elite episodes, not the ones that you and I have already talked about, because I haven't seen a lot of their stuff. I thought they do the same thing in their Being the Elite. They do real heavy overacting, and I don't like that. It comes off very unnatural. And in my wrestling, I like it to be as natural as possible. I like it to be a believable contest. I like it to tell a great dramatic story. I like there to be comedy sometimes because life has comedy. I also don't care that The Undertaker throws lightning sometimes. Like, I'm okay with those things. But...
Well, I think part of it can be a bit frustrating that for some of the more tenured talent, you've seen them do amazing shit in Japan. The Young Bucks have had amazing matches. And maybe you can throw it to ring rust because they haven't really been wrestling too much at all.
Well, that was just a promo.
No, I get you. But, like, in terms of what they did, maybe they need to focus on what they did well in a lot of ways. Because the comedy stuff's good, but there's a balance to it. Like, I love the Young Bucks comedy things when they would do promos after match in NJPW. Or it'd be like them, like almost a post press conference thing, like for a game. And they'd be cussing and they'd be like them, but it would be overacted, but you could tell it was overacted to the point of like mocking you, which I thought was cool because it was so way over.
If you do it, I suppose, I just haven't seen them do anything that credible yet. And that's the other thing. At the end of the day, we cannot forget this is your first major platform. This is AEW's first outing. This is their first pay-per-view. We are AEW. This is us. And it takes me like over half of a show before I start going, maybe I could watch this. Like every time I'm watching this, it's like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, this is embarrassing. So much of it. The closing for the kickoff show was the promo with the Young Bucks, Brandy, Kenny, and Cody. And it came off so scripted. Super scripted. But I know they're not scripted. So why do you guys talk in a way that sounds like you're scripted? Like, it didn't make sense and it felt weird and unnatural and I didn't like it. Then the camera cut off Cody. He was still talking and just, okay. Like, what's fucking going on? I thought that JR was carrying the announce team like the entire time. He literally pitched to one of the announcers to go over the fact that the tag rules have changed and it's going to be a different set of rules here. And then the announcer goes, "No, I want to see what SCU's doing." What the fuck? He says, "Hey, tell them about the new 10-second rule. It's a brand new thing. None of these people are going to know what it is." "No, I want to see what SCU's doing." So then there's just silence while we watch SCU come to the ring. Then eventually they get their mic. And then eventually they cut their promo. They cut their promo. JR then, as the match begins, passes again to the other announcer to be all like, "We need to tell them about this 10-count rule. It's different." And then that guy's all like, "Yeah, this is it," basically. Here's the problem with them explaining that rule. It didn't matter. Doesn't matter how many seconds you give someone if you don't count at all.
And the ref wasn't counting?
The ref never counted. Nice. Not only did the ref never count, the ref never said, "Hey, get out of here." This was a 6-man tag match, SCU versus Strong Hearts. They even said early on, JR said, "Oh, this match is falling apart pretty quick." He's like, "That ref's going to have to keep an order. It's going to be tough to do with a 6-man. It's also tough to do if you don't try.
Yeah.
I even wrote down, the ref is doing absolutely nothing to maintain any order to keep only 2 men in the ring. Even with the new 10-second rule, the ref is not even counting at all, no matter whether tag's made. And I felt like the whole match came off pretty spot heavy and choreographed. And it felt like a match that's been done a dozen times. Like, they've done the match a dozen times. It felt very much like, hey, ref, just stay out of the way. This is where you count, and this is where you don't, and we're going to do our thing. That's really what it came off to me. That's not to say these 6 men aren't talented. SCU and Strong Hearts are incredibly talented, and I got that from watching it. Wow, these guys are capable of a lot. But it was not a believable match, and the ref had nothing to do with it. The ref didn't have to be there.
Yeah.
It was frustrating for me. Frustrating for me because I really was excited to see SCU because I've been hearing about SCU for so long, and you got to see them. They're incredible. Christopher Daniels has been doing it for so long. Frank Kazarian, I've heard about for a long time, and here they all are with a new guy, Scorpio Sky, and it's supposed to be like the greatest 3-man tag in the history of time, potentially. I was super excited, and I saw why people would say that, but I saw a match that didn't tell me that. You know what I mean?
Fair.
It was just a little frustrating. Like, it's frustrating for a team to get the win and to be happy they won and feel bad about the match when you know that these people put it all out there. It's like, come on. Like, I felt like this. Like, I ended up writing a list of 5 things I think AEW needs to do to get this to be anywhere believable.
Let's do those at the end.
But
I got counterpoint when I get through a lot of this.
Yeah, counterpoints to each one?
Well, I have a thing I want to throw at you.
Yeah.
I want to go through get through this part.
But I felt like that wasn't the only time the ref was oblivious to the match. But it was 6 guys who looked great, who were really capable of doing great moves, and really capable of putting on a decently spaced out match. But it seemed it was coming off pretty choreographed, and that's what I was saying even last week about Ricochet. He's got a way of making those kind of things to not look choreographed when you know that there's no way he didn't practice that. That'd be insane. He would die if he didn't practice that. There's a natural way to do these things, and I just don't think everyone's figured that out yet. And I think that it wouldn't take much to make that match believable, but it would have taken some form of rules. Because I couldn't tell who was legal, when.
Yeah.
The only time the ref was involved is when they went, because someone tagged. And the only time it mattered if you were on the edge of the corner was if you were going to tag to become the legal person. Any other time, it didn't matter. You could jump in the ring. You could run out of the ring. You didn't have to be the person who was legal to be the only 2 dudes in the ring. Then you could roll back out and someone else could come in, and now that's the legal person. And then sometimes they would tag, and then other times they didn't seem to. And I couldn't figure out who was legal when or who was winning when. It was just impossible for me to keep track when you don't have any kind of order like that.
No, I can get it.
They're talented, though.
No, they are, and that's I didn't see anything of that match, but I can get that. That is frustrating. I feel like, well, if I'm gonna throw it there, yeah. The question I would ask is, and in a sense, I'm going to be answering it myself because if it weren't so built up, this would be okay.
Yes.
Because this is their first outing. Though technically it's their second. The unfortunate thing is the first outing was produced by so much more. It had so much more talent to it. It had people who, at the point, they were all working more consistently. There was a lot more behind it.
There was a lot more behind All In, and I will say
less expectations.
And less expectations. And I will say this, is they spent the last 6 months telling us how perfect this thing was going to be.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't. And you're right. I think 100% if they had booked this in any other way, hey guys, we're trying to do something. We're trying to do something that we think could be big. Mm-hmm. That's a whole other story than saying, oh yeah, look out Vince, we're ready to take on everything. You're talking about the top elite of all time. It didn't come off like elite. It really didn't. It took a while before it came off like, oh, here's elite talent. It came off like, oh, here's some good wrestlers. Here's some fucking gimmicks for the first fucking half of the kickoff. But
what I might throw out there is I think maybe, and part of why I'm maybe more forgiving of it, some of the weaker points is that they haven't had the audience there because...
But they didn't play to the other audience. They didn't play to the audience. They only played to their already established audience. And that's my biggest gripe with this show, is they weren't putting this on to get new fans. They were pretending like they would, but they put it on to keep old fans happy.
Howdy, champ, I wasn't done.
Oh.
Sorry.
Kind of an ice cube.
No,
Give
until I
it.
finish talking.
Yeah, do it.
Let me just put this on the floor right now.
I need ice cube. It gives me something to do if I can drink.
I do cough. Okay, so. In a sense, I think part of that is, and I don't agree with it fully, is it is going to have to acknowledge them. It is a love letter to this established audience. And it's hard to pull people in because it's on YouTube and you don't have that established audience of network TV. Which for this sport is still critically important. WWE, everything, it's based on that. The fan base is, as much as it's people who are on the internet, it's 10 times that watching network TV. These are, and I'm not knocking fans for being savvy, but they're people who go to events, they're people who watch it on a show. And it might be hard. I haven't been watching Being the Elite from the beginning. I've only watched it for about 6 months. And it's feels low budget, and that's the one thing I knock it, because I think it's silly. I view it as like a mockumentary, and it is, and it's silly, and it's a bit over the top, and that's fine. I wonder if what maybe we're doing that's hurting our view of this is that we are viewing this as a WWE event.
That's how they position themselves. Because I'll tell you this, everyone who's talking about this being the greatest pay-per-view in the history of all time, which they are the same people who, if WWE put on the same exact show, would have ripped it to fucking pieces. And I'm not saying that the show wasn't great, because I think it was. But I think that you can't walk away from the show and say there's no negative feedback to give. It's perfect to give them time. I don't think that's what they even want. I think if you had Cody sitting in front of you right now and you say, I really enjoyed the show, I loved it, there's a lot of things I think could be better. I think that he would want to talk to you more so than the people sitting next to you who are saying, perfect, amazing, best pay-per-view of all time, nothing to improve on, keep doing that.
No, you're not wrong. The only thing I'm doing, and I think we talked about this the night of it, is like, I think I agree with you. It's good, it's great. I just think that, and that isn't without flaws. I just think that maybe, and yes, they've in part compared themselves to the WWE, and the WWE's compared to them, and everyone's, more than them even, fans have done this. It's going to be this different.
They put like 4 or 5 different references to WWE in this show. If you wanted me to not think about you as WWE, you don't put Triple H's fucking sledgehammer and throne in there. There's no reason for it. None. Nothing about what you're doing has anything to do with Triple H, unless you want me to think about you in terms of Triple H. When JR described the 10 count rule,
Pissant.
that was after they called him a pissant. Cody started that. Cody said a pissant bodybuilder, referring to Triple H in his promo against Cody, or his promo against Dustin.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Triple H is an idiot and calls them a pissant company on Hall of Fame after the fact. But they started it. Yeah, they said it, and then Triple H said something back, so now he goes, and now I'm going to put out the Triple H thing. Why are you trying to build a feud with Triple H? Just do your thing.
Well, they've also, in Being the Elite going way back, they've always referenced him too.
Yeah, and is that okay?
Yeah.
If you want to be viewed as different, if you want to be forgiven for everything you do wrong, then don't say that you're doing better than those people, because now I got to compare you. If you're saying, I'm not WWE, we are perfect, and we do a bunch of stuff, hey, let me talk shit about all these people, then you're saying, well, now I got to look at you guys at the same light. Or if you just ignored WWE and did you, I could be like, oh, here's this new wrestling promotion. You know why no one's compared to ROH or MLW to WWE? Because they don't talk about WWE. They talk about themselves. So they put themselves in that mess, I feel like. And I don't think that it's not without... I don't think they can't get out of it. I don't think that they can't be long-lasting. I don't think they can't put on great stuff. I think that Dustin Cody match was one of the best matches I've seen in years. Yes. I know people said like weeks, months, but I feel like, honestly, when I think about it, I don't remember the last time I was literally on the edge of my seat and looking around at everybody in the room to see how they were feeling too, because this was too fucking much.
Maybe what I do with it, I tried everything I watched to just not look at it in that comparison view line, and that's just what I did. And that it is a valid point to do, because ultimately I just wanted to see it and be happy, because I love a lot of people involved in this.
Yes, I want them to do well, but I also don't want to pretend that if they continue. Here's the problem: if they made this show 12 times a year, and that was their pay-per-views, and none of this stuff was resolved, it wouldn't be long before you've got fucking tired of it. And that's what I'm saying is that you got to be critical early to help them.
Fair. Okay. I retract my point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want you to love it for a long, long time. I want 10 years from now for us to talk about their first pay-per-view. But if they don't address any of these fucking things that they're doing that is not good or clean,
then it's gonna really suck in you. And
yeah, then you got maybe 5 years before it's gone. I don't want that.
Which I think of Wrestle Kingdom 11 versus 12. Wrestle Kingdom 11 is considered one of the best, and it was also because it was a shit WrestleMania right after. Wrestle Kingdom 11, amazing. Had Coda, had Omega, Okada, and it had just on and on and on. And Wrestle Kingdom 12 was on paper gonna be the best thing ever through their booking, and this when Jericho's coming in, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't bad.
No.
It wasn't. It was a great pay-per-view. It was better than a lot of WWE pay-per-views every year. But it was like, it felt like you could have done so much better. And at this point, because of the amount of attention on, unfortunately I did have to compare it to WWE. I was like, well, this is your biggest thing. I'm comparing it to WrestleMania, and your announce team is compared it to WrestleMania, and it's okay.
And it's okay. And that's what I'm saying. You know how many times the panel at Starrcast, the AEW people themselves, the talent themselves, use the word competition in reference to WWE? Dude, I wish I had a fucking counter. Every single panel, they said it more than once. If they were on the AEW roster, they said competition to WWE 4 or 5 times.
If you had a nickel for every time they said it, you probably could have booked an Undertaker appearance for yourself.
I could have got me about Undertaker.
Shit.
You know what I mean? Like, it was just one of those things where it's all like, okay, that's all fair. You're telling me all this stuff. You don't let me not see it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you didn't give me the chance to enjoy it without that.
Well, and,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'll give you also, like, after it on the Squared Circle subreddit, which is my primary wrestling subreddit, I was just watching and saying, it didn't, like, there's things I like, but also, like, the things I like, I wouldn't say they're the best things ever. Like, I like dumb shit. And I fully admit, I like dumb shit. I like gimmicky bad matches. But it's also what... That doesn't mean it's the best thing. Like, WrestleMania 17 isn't the best WrestleMania for the gimmick battle royal.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was a really fun thing in the middle of it. Yeah, but it had other stuff happening.
Yeah, exactly. Smiling Kylie's interest where she, like, runs in and then... Did you see it where she otters into the ring and just literally...
Oh, yeah. Runs? And then stopped.
And
that made me laugh.
Yeah, that was hilarious. But you need more to it, that was actually a really good match. I was really happy with that match.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up too. Kylie Rae versus Nyla versus Britt. Brandy adds Awesome Kong.
Yeah.
And then ultimately Britt gets the win over Kylie. There was a couple of missed counts by the refs. So this is more ref complaints. I think more so than not, you're going to find that a lot of my major complaints were refs. But the ref missed a couple of counts and it was weird. There were really nice moves and there was really good pacing in the match. The story made a lot of sense. I really like the spot where Britt super kicks Kylie and her bow fell out. Because I know it wasn't planned. You can't plan for her bow to just get loose enough to bing. Yeah. But I thought it made a really nice visual. I was a little bummed out that Nyla and Awesome Kong made themselves largely irrelevant for most of the match. It could have likely been a one-on-one, and I don't think we would have felt like we were missing anything or gotten more than this.
I think they, and I like
the hype was cool.
Oh yeah, and I
the
like
pop
Nyla.
was great.
I liked everyone in the match really, and I was so happy to see Awesome Kong back because the way her career ended in WWE sucked.
Yeah,
and it's one of the I think bigger fuck ups in the past 10 years of WWE.
Yeah,
because she could have been. Imagine instead of Nyla Jax, we had Awesome Kong. We had Karma.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. Great. But no,
imagine Kong and Bayley instead of all that Nyla Bayley shit. We wouldn't have lost Bayley for 6 months for one.
Mm-hmm. Kong wouldn't have broken Becky's nose. And,
yeah.
But I was really happy. Like I honestly think that was one of the things. Like, and it seems silly, but knowing that and knowing her from the Indies and from Impact and what she did in Impact, seeing her come, I was like, that like made me so happy because the fan reaction to it and the way it goes, like that was like an almost emotion where I was like, that's awesome because that's a person I've really liked for a long time. And Nyla Rose is, I think, a really important person and did a good showing. But I agree. I think it would have been cool to have. I think it's a good way to introduce talent, but it would have been cool to have maybe down the road just one-on-one matches for some of these people.
Yeah, I think they could have used Awesome Kong's pop for something bigger that would have made her look better. Like I felt like it was a little wasted and it didn't have to be. Like I said, it was a nice pop, it was a cool moment, but then they kind of like got her out of the match pretty quick.
Yeah.
I was like, it's a bummer. You just hope to see more of someone do more stuff after that. So I do feel like it could have been a one-on-one. It didn't have to be a four-way. It didn't even have to be a triple threat. Or it could have been a really interesting triple threat without Awesome Kong, because Awesome and Nyla just eventually became Godzilla and Mothra and got each other out. You know what I mean? So it was kind of, they canceled each other out in a way that was just a little unfortunate, but it still didn't take away from the match. It just didn't add to the match.
Fair. And it would have been cool to see both of them against this, like, they're both powerhouses, but I think it may be two powerhouses fighting. It doesn't make sense, but it's also kind of like if you had like Braun Strowman and Undertaker with Rey Mysterio and Zack Ryder.
Yeah.
Them fighting, it's like, okay, the rest of this match is just you two just staying away from them.
Yeah.
But it is more compelling to see them go after the big guys.
Yeah.
Big people. Biggins.
Is there a reason? So my only thing from a new viewership perspective on that match as well is Kylie Rae's the only one that you guys built up to me. You put her in a promo early on. I did run into her at Starrcast, and she wasn't at a table. She was just walking by, but she did have quite the presence because I was like, who is she? I was like, she's got to be somebody. And then she kind of walked away, and she had that giant bow in her hair. And then later on, I saw a picture from Starrcast doing a thing, and it was like Kylie Rae with a fan thing. I was like, oh shit, that was the one who walked by. But they haven't built these other people. So right, so you've led me into knowing who Kylie Rae is a little bit. No real background on Britt Baker. Why should I be excited that Britt Baker won above Kylie?
Well, I think Britt Baker, they built her up a bit in All In prior.
Again, that's also a different company at this point.
Yeah, and that's also, again, part of taking time to maybe put more vignettes for people, and maybe in time we'll see those. That'll be awesome.
Right. I think it's going to come, but I'm asking you because we've already talked about all that. They did a bad job preparing us for any of these people. You actually put Kylie in a promo, so I go, okay, so she's someone I should root for. She's cool. And then she lost to Britt Baker, and I'm like, but I don't know who that is. It was a good match, good showing, but what is it about Britt that makes you so excited that she won?
I think she's a good
She's a good dentist?
She's a good dentist.
Yeah,
she's a decent dentist.
Yeah.
She's a good dentist.
She's good on firm now.
Yeah. And she doesn't, my gums don't bleed after.
Yeah.
She, at the announcement for Double or Nothing, she came out and cut a promo and it was really good. And at that, she came out, Kylie Rae came out briefly, and there was a little talk. Yeah. Then Nyla came out and got right up in Britt's face. So really, they built up them. And it was because I think because Britt was such a part of All In, they kind of put the focus on, in that case, Nyla, and then after Kylie. And I do, in a sense, like, what's funny is we talked about the opening Battle Royal and how fucking annoying it was, the way that I really did not like how they talked about the double amputee wrestler. I'm very happy they didn't do that with that kind of style of it with Nyla, and I was really. I think that sometimes. And
they didn't mention Sunny Kiss almost at all,
which sucked. But again, also I think part of it, in a sense, I'm happy. Is like just acknowledge him as a wrestler. Don't do what sometimes happens, where it's that self-congratulatory hand-wringing of we have the first this or this person who's this.
Right, but at the same token, you haven't told me anything about any of these people.
Fair.
So if you at least told me something that made me want to root for somebody, why are you an underdog? That's quite the underdog story. That's probably a really great story.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you don't tell me anything at all, then it's just like, okay, there's a weird person in drag maybe, or maybe not. Like, it's hard to, you just don't know what's happening. And then you're like, okay, now Tommy Dreamer's rubbing his face in that person's ass, and you're not sure what that's about. Like, it just...
Lucky Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that is my thing. Either before things start occurring, we need to see more vignettes for these people.
Yeah, we need to know more about them.
And even if I hope it's not that self-congratulatory hand-wringing like so many things we have experienced in being WWE fans that really fucking annoys me. But just show them as people. Show them as what they've done. Because Nyla has a great story, has done great matches, and so is Sonny Kiss. These people are in this promotion for reasons.
Yeah, and we don't know. And that's the other problem the commentary had, is they didn't fill in those gaps.
Yes.
Why should I root for this person? Mm-hmm. I don't know. And they didn't know either, it sounded like. You know what I mean? After that match, though, which was a cool match, I liked it. I just thought the ref messed up a count or two. We had the Best Friends versus Angelico and Jack Evans.
Best Friends had the best Titantron video ever.
I cannot stand it.
Did you watch the Titantron video?
Yeah, I did. I couldn't stand it. I didn't watch the whole thing. The opening of it, JR then refers again to the 10 count rule, and then he says this. Are you ready? He says, the 10 count is just more realistic and believable than a 5 count. Why? For one, why? And then he says that, that it's because that it gives these guys time to come in and do their stuff. How is it more realistic and believable to give a team member a longer amount of time to take an unfair advantage over the other team member because they get to have more stuff in it? And why are you referring to other people's rules? Talk about your rules and don't defend them, just let them be them. You know what I mean? It was really upsetting. Because I was all like, Jared, shut the fuck up, man. Like, I'm so excited to hear you. And then you gotta pull that shit. Like, you sound fucking sour, dude. And I know he's not sour, but you're fucking coming off sour. So relax on that. Like, just be you. Hey, this is, over here, we do 10 count rule.
Sounds like you're making some Carolina barbecue sauce. It's more mustard-based sour.
Oh, yeah. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter anyways, because the ref proceeded to only attempt to count after something like 5 or 6 seconds anyways. So they would tag in, they'd be doing stuff, be like, doing stuff, and then it'd be like, 1. Like 3 times this person counted after about 7 or 8 seconds of active activity. So it was like, so they're getting 20 or 30 seconds anyways. So what the fuck are you trying to like pinpoint these seconds for? Like, I didn't like it because you know what, for one, it is, all rules are believable and realistic if they're trying to be enforced. I don't even mind it when referees start counting and they get to the 4
and they slow.
Or they slow and they start looking at the guy, or they walk over there and be like, come on, man, don't make me count you out. Like, I don't mind a ref not wanting to do the count and playing that up a little bit. Dude, don't make me disqualify you. And then the guy gets all mad. Oh, fine, fucking, I'm out of here. You know? But I do mind a ref who's just watching by going like, they're not supposed to do that. Yeah. Well, what the fuck are you doing then? Like,
what are we paying you for?
Yeah.
That's one of my accessories.
When the best friends finally hug, JR screams like Foley fell off the top of the cage. That made me upset. They finally hugged and he goes, well, they hugged! They hugged! Oh my God, they finally hugged!
I really hope that they're paying Jim Ross a lot.
I couldn't believe that he did that.
I really... How many zeros are on that paycheck? Because that seems like, and
How many fucking commas? Like,
$100 million budget gone.
No. That was the second 6:30 we saw of the night.
Oh.
The best friends get the win with, I put a cruncher, I think that's what they called it. And then they go for an after-match hug. The lights go out. Some guys are in the ring. Literally, the commentators don't know who they are. They go, someone's in the ring. And then the lights go out again. And now there's a bunch more people inside. And again, the commentators have no idea who they are or why they're there. So they've explained nothing. And then they kind of cut to like a promo after that. And I was like, okay. No idea who they are, why they're there, what interaction they may be trying to have, what even point they're trying to make. Because they didn't even really attack anybody either. They were just there.
Legitimate ring crew.
Ring crew with masks. It turns out they were Smash Brothers. That's what the word is on the internet. They were Super Smash Brothers. Do you know who they are? Me neither. Apparently they're pretty low key. I guess they were in MLW for a little while until...
No shit, they didn't say a fucking word about them.
Yeah. Jim Cornette apparently hates them and got them out of the promotion as soon as he got a little pull over there. And they're trying to... Apparently they haven't given them a name because they're trying to figure out what to name them because they can't use Super Smash Brothers. So, but at the same time, again, here we were left hanging by the commentary who just didn't know what was happening or why, and they couldn't explain anything or connect the dots or tell the story. If, as JR has always said it, they are the lyrics to the music that's in the ring, there was a lot of fucking Wesley Willis in this, man. You familiar with Wesley Willis? You're like, hey Siri, play Wesley Willis.
Playing Wesley Willis.
Hey Siri, crank it up.
My wife's gonna hate me tonight because this is gonna be blaring on my Arsenal speaker.
This is what it felt like.
It's kind of like,
Listen to commentary.
I was gonna say, when you said, I was thinking like DJ Assault.
Oh,
You know DJ Assault?
no.
Hey Siri, play DJ Assault.
Playing DJ Assault.
That's,
This is JR, or this is Lawler, dude. Dude, that's Lawler. Puppies!
this is literally it.
No, because these guys can't talk this fast.
Yeah. His other song is Ho Don't Cry, Let Me Nut in Your Eye.
Well, that makes sense.
That's over and over.
Wesley Willis ends all songs with "Good Night, Chicago." And it says something about ketchup. Eat ketchup in your ass or something like that.
Hey Siri, stop.
But here we were again, left a little bit hanging by the commentary with no idea what the hell's going on or why. And if they are the lyrics to our music, they are bad lyrics. Let's see. After this, we get.
So if you're the lyrics to this music, you're Randy fucking Newman.
Yeah. We got a friend of me. Boop, 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 beep, beep. Let's see. So we get Team Sheeta versus the Aja Kong Experience.
Was that really the fucking name? Damn it.
It was. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, does no one else hear this? Like, this is what I mean. If WWE put this on, they would be crucified. I'm not saying this wasn't a great show. I'm saying this was not the greatest show.
Next week, or the next promotion, they'll be the Aja Kong Raiders.
Yeah, they're going to be the Aja Kong Raiders after that.
When they're gonna, we're gonna have a big pay-per-view event down the road. They're gonna be trying to work Aja Kong into the scenery. Yeah.
They did list everybody who they were. I have a hard time spelling and pronouncing, so I'm not going to try.
Did you spell them out?
Well, I got the first group was Riho, and then Rio, and Hikaru Shida, and then Aja Kong Experience. They showed them all for a second. I was like, nah.
I don't even know why we don't do New Japan Wrestling, because I know that this would be really fun to hear you pronounce.
Yeah. So this was the Joshi girls match, and everyone was talking about how great this Joshi girls match was. My only concern or question truly is, are any of them AEW? I thought they were all talked about as being from a Chinese promotion.
Well, so remember AEW works with these promotions a little time back and forth, like Triple A and
Which I get, but here we've had a number of matches so far with some people from AEW, some from others. Is this the first match of the night with no one from AEW? You know what I mean?
fair.
That's just my question. I'm not saying that that's necessarily good or bad. I do think it's weird for your first time as a company.
Well, I know Aja Kong did sign a contract with them, but then remember a lot of them, it's really a lot of people are working indies too.
Yeah. Right, but they were talking about even the SCU guys, the ones they went up against. They said they were they were Japanese wrestlers in a Chinese promotion, and JR had a really hard time making sense of that, so he started calling them Chinese wrestlers, and that really upset a lot of people too.
Shima's Japanese. He's one of the founders of. He's one of those part people to Dragon Gate. He founded OWE, which is the Oriental Wrestling, whatever the fuck it is. And then
Experience.
Oriental Wrestling Experience, which also I always struggle with this part of it. I don't know if you ever had this like weird, annoying, smarmy ass like high school teacher who's like, Oriental is what you call a rug, not a person.
Food. That's what I was told. Oriental is a food, not a person.
Yeah, my teacher.
Oriental is what you eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'll tell you.
Like, in what capacity do you eat people?
Hmm?
Well,
Oh, I'll choke on an egg roll.
yeah, that's cool.
L'chaim to the egg roll choking.
My wife said an inappropriate thing.
In our chat? Did I miss some of the chat?
No,
Nope.
she's.
Oh, you're texting. Good.
Oh, well,
Um,
lady person called. It's like, motherfucker, I'm doing a podcast.
so let's see. So then we get the second 619 of the night, but they call it a 702.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Those are different goddamn measurements for different goddamn countries.
I think it's all area codes, right?
702 hectares.
Well, 619 is the area code for San Diego, and that's why Ray called it that.
Right.
So yeah, just whatever. And then so there's a dude here locally who'll do it, and he calls it the 520. And I'm all like, okay, well,
You guys stop. It's not.
yeah, stop it.
Okay, I love where we live.
Mhm.
I would not mind living here my entire life. It isn't that, no.
I'll give you this though. That dude's really good. But yeah, I thought it was funny. And maybe it's not even him calling it that, but the announcers call it that when he does it. I don't know if he tells them to stop or not. But let's see.
Shut up.
Let's see. There was 2 failed count breaks. There was 2 times the ref was counting, and then went 2 before the person kicked out. Twice. There was 1 time on top of that where they counted to 2. There was so little movement that the ring bell person rings the bell and starts playing the music of the winner. And then you had the referee saying 2, trying to be super serious, 2. And then you had both performers in the ring of opposite sides go, 2. You're fucking kidding me. You're trying to say you didn't win. Why would you do that? So I will say that took me out of it a little bit. With that in mind, I do know a few people who watch this and were like, the Joshi match was they put the whole fucking WWE women's roster on notice. Like, this is women's wrestling. And I was like, maybe. But the reffing has to change if you want me to believe it.
That's more positive. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. It's hard to say, but I do know that someone else didn't like the way Aja Kong looked with the face paint and the garbage bag kind of look, kind of a Missy Elliott look. I think they're just trying to, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was kind of a weird, cheap-looking costume.
So who said someone else who said they didn't like it?
I don't know. Could have been anyone. I talked to a lot of people.
Do you now? Yeah. I talked to about 90%.
We talked to the same people.
We talked about you guys going to dinner with that person.
I will say that the Aja Kong's gear was a little weird, but I was able to look past that. Has she always looked that way? Because she's been doing it for a million years, right?
Yeah, she's like 50. She kind of typically dresses a lot like fucking Awesome Kong does. Like, it's like kind of like a Viking warrior thing because she's all like, or
just
sometimes
like
hilariously dumb things too.
It looked like a big pajama, dude. Did you not see?
No.
Okay.
Some of these matches I was like pissed off that I didn't see shit on, like Square Circle. But John Moxley all day long.
What? Oh, why am I thinking something else? Who was the person in blue? So who was the other crazy person? Because this is her.
No, it's not.
That's not bad. That's not her? No, that's not her. Yeah, no. So then where's fucking Aja Kong? Yeah, because this is what she looked like with the face paint and like a garbage bag kind of.
You know, on podcasts when you're listening and they do something visual, it's the same thing here. We'll be back momentarily, folks.
No, what? Okay, like there. So it was like just this big kind of pajama looking
shit like
thing.
that a lot. She wears.
Here he is. There's a good one. That's just kind of like, it would just look like a big.
Yeah, she wears. It's not form fitting, but she wears a lot of stuff like that, like bright colors. Like one of my favorite things was she would be regularly on this Japanese game show to just fuck around.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, maybe I wouldn't wear that if I looked like, but whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have the confidence to pull that off. I just got my first crop top.
Nice. Well done. It was a good match, apart from the refs fucking it up as much as they did. Did you see the refs, how they have different style ref shirt? I did think that was neat. Just much thicker lines. Much thicker with a huge lapel.
They look like the refs from the 1970s.
It was a little weird. At first, I was like, that's weird. I don't like it. And I was like, well, hold on. And then I watched it for a little bit, and I was like, that's not bad, actually. Because it sets them apart a little bit. You can see that ref and go, that's an AEW ref. Where you see this, and this is any independent wrestling ref or a soccer ref. You don't fucking know.
Or it does very closely look like 90s Foot Locker.
Yes.
Yeah, like when they had the collars, like, that's where I got my Jordan 1s.
Yeah, you got your Jordans at Foot Locker. So that brings us to the big three then. So we end up with that match going. Oh, and I believe the Hikaru Shida team Shida won. They were cool. They were all at a table together and stuff. And so I walked by and that was cool. But we got Cody versus Dustin. I put Dustin's never looked better, which is absolutely insane to say and to think. Cody gets the win over after doing a second Crossroads. And I didn't put a lot of notes in here because I was actually watching. I couldn't not be watching. I put that Dustin bled a lot, and that it felt like too much, and it felt like he hit something vital.
It like Eddie Guerrero at No Mercy bad? Oh, fuck.
It was. And in the panel he did the next day, he was even like still kind of out of it, and he was talking about it, and he said that initially, and again, if you guys haven't got Starrcast on Fight, I would recommend it. If for nothing else, to be able to always have access to this interview, I want to watch it again and again. But he said in there that he did the thing. He's in there, and you can just see it coming out to his heartbeat. And he goes, oh, that's not good. And he goes, and they keep wrestling, they're doing stuff. He goes, about 10 minutes goes by, and he rolls back over after wiping his face off and looks down, and he sees it still at his heartbeat. And thinking, that's real bad. And he goes, I started wondering, like, am I going to die? Like, what am I doing? And he said that he looked across the ring, and his brother had, like, the most honest, concerned look on his face, like,
what did you do,
yeah,
champ?
what do you, like, you can't do this. And he was like, let's just take it home. Let's just go. Let's just stop it. And Dustin was like, no. He's like, we've come this far. It's only like 10 minutes left. Let's do it. You know, let's do it. And there was the one spot he was really concerned of with a superplex off the top, and he slipped. And it happened. He was able to protect his brother, but there was a moment there when he's coming down, he slips, and he's like, he was really concerned about it. He even asked some people at the meet and greet, you know, how did it look? Did we fall okay? You know. There was another thing he mentioned in there. He was trying to do Spanish fly. He said he couldn't really do it, so it almost came off just like a corkscrew thing. He's like, I ended up like twisting sideways instead. And he goes, I'm a 50-year-old man, that's good enough. You know, like, but he didn't want to go out there and just do the same things we've seen him do. I'll say that the match was from a wrestling match standpoint, perfect. Even with the mistakes, it was perfect. Because that was a real, raw match. With only having, a month, 2 months to really build for it, you were able to get 30 years of build out of it. You know what I mean? Like, you were literally able to pull out enough stuff to say, this is why you need to be invested. And they put on the most Dusty Rhodes produced NWA match that they could have done, and it was emotional for them. It was emotional for the fans. Literally, I kept scooting up. I was sitting there with most of the show with my feet up on the chair. That one I was not. I was literally edge of my seat and looking around. I was looking around also because right behind me at this viewing party was Harry Smith, David Boyd Jr., Blue Meanie, Joel Gertner, and Sean Mooney. And I was like, what does Blue Meanie and Joel Gertner think of this? Because he's bleeding a fucking lot. And I was getting concerned. I was like, this isn't good. And they were just showing it just... And I turned over, and you could just see them both. They were just like this. Just concerned, like, fuck.
Oh, shit.
And there's like, oh, my God. But it was incredible. I will say that I know Cody had to win, but I really wanted Dustin to win.
Made him look strong. He made Dustin look strong enough.
He did make Dustin look strong enough, and I will say that Dustin made Cody look great. Like I said, going into that match, I was not a Cody believer or a fan, and then at the end of it, I was all like, I wasn't rooting for Cody. I wasn't, but I left the match with a ton of respect for him. And knowing he has the ability now to put on that level of match. I don't know if it's going to be reliant on who he's got with him or not, but it was an amazing match. And to be quite honest with you, the match was, a week ago today? I've thought about that match every day. I haven't thought about the whole card every day.
Yeah.
Every day I'm sitting around and I'm doing stuff or thinking about nothing, and I just think about moments of that match. What?
Aren't you training?
I do nothing. I will say that was easily match of the year. As much as I loved all the WWE stuff in the Rumble, and as much as that got my heart racing, and I had to bring my heart rate back down to the excitement of it, and as much as I liked a few other things that have happened throughout the year, I don't know that the same level of emotion and build and execution could be topped than what was there that night.
No, I didn't see too much of it. Everything I saw, and the ending was just so sweet.
Amazing.
Yeah, that I need a brother for this.
It
was the most Dusty.
My older brother. Yeah. And you've seen the Dusty promo people are referencing, right? When the Natural was trying to get a tag partner, and Dusty came out. He was like, I don't want you asking for some other partner. Yeah, I'm asking in front of God and the whole world. And then Cody said the same thing. I have something to ask you in front of the God and the whole world. Yeah. It was crazy. It was such a Dusty moment, and they were in there, and the crowd was even chanting Dusty, and then when you watch the whole thing top to bottom, you think, yeah, that would have been, that felt like Dusty's opus, you know?
Yeah.
It was so perfect. I know Dustin was complaining a number of times that he wished, the only thing he didn't like about it was he wished that he was able to get his boot off entirely. He gets to the corner, or gets to the ring, he starts untying his boot. And as he's untying it, Cody jumps in. And he goes, no, you don't get to come here and retire. And starts doing his thing. And I know that Dusty said in his interview, and he said in a couple of interviews, and actually said to a few people in the meet and greet, and goes, I just wish that he let me take the boot off first. I don't know that he needed to. I think, I get it.
So you had one boot off and one boot on, so it would have been a...
Yeah. So it would be kind of, hanging up the boots kind of a deal. But I will say that if you're doing the action already, we already know.
Yeah, we don't need to go that far.
Yeah. So I will say, I don't know that it would have added a lot more by holding a boot, as opposed to having your laces undone. But it is nice that he, even in a match like that, will think about, things he would have liked to do better. It's amazing.
I think it speaks to what we didn't see Goldust, and I love Goldust. Goldust is one of my favorite long-term characters.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But we saw Dustin, and we saw that, I won't not Goldust, but I think it shows, and same with Cody, but Stardust, even though Cody said he fucking hated the character.
Yeah.
They sold the shit out of those characters, and they did really goddamn good. Yeah. And you got to see them do what I hope they want to do. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was amazing. When I met Dustin, he's like, and I'll say it because he said it in the panel anyways, but he said, can you believe that Vince didn't want that? I was like, and he's all like, I wanted to do that at WrestleMania, and Vince said no, and we're going to watch that. And he's like, can you believe that? And he's like, fuck him, man. He goes, fuck Vince. And I was like, Jesus, dude, fucking chill. But he's all like, he said, he goes, even if we did it, even if we put on that match, he goes, today we've been fined like $100,000 and pulled in the office. We'd be in trouble for putting it on because of blood and stuff. And I was all like, yeah, and he's all like, he was really upset, because he was like, because he saw it and he felt it and he's been through it. Every day he's still tweeting about it, and I don't knock him for a second because every day I'm still thinking about it. And it's like, I didn't live it the way he lived it, and so...
He probably pitched something like that or stuff along those lines for years, and I know
He
It's not
did.
him, his dad. If not his dad too, because there's always, I think maybe it's him getting out a lot because, fuck you, his career and both of their careers at WWE at times were like mocked because it felt like that weird frenemy relationship between Vince and Dusty, where it's like, well, your son's good. We're gonna put him in a fucking latex suit, so you can't see any of them.
No.
Did he need it? No, but he owned it. He made it the best he could. We're gonna put your other son in this gimmick we were gonna put for you.
Yeah.
Sucked, but they made it work, and it's stupid, and it really, I could totally understand making comments, being frustrated. It was also not the only one. We're gonna talk a little bit later on about another person. I don't know if you listened to Jericho this week.
Yeah.
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 I can get it. You know, these people, in some ways, and it shouldn't be like a fuck you to WWE. What it should be is a challenge. Like, you had a chance at this,
Yes.
and you gave that up. Yeah.
That's in my notes.
Mhm.
In my top 5 things they need to change, one of them was, and we're almost there, but one of them had to do with talk less about WWE, and more about the legacy you're trying to be, right? So we'll get into that a little more detail. Yeah. Well, I mean, even then, like, we had that whole opening with Cody and the Triple H thing, and I didn't know why that was. He came out dressed like Prince Charming, which was kind of funny. The camera was messed up on that too. I didn't even put a mark of that, but yeah, the camera showed the wrong tunnel, and he's coming out, and you see the cameras go shit, because they had different tunnels for heels and faces and stuff, and they didn't. Yeah, they're just doing the wrong thing. So after that, you end up getting Brett coming out, unveiling the first AEW title.
What do you think of the title?
You've seen it, right? I think everyone here's seen it. Hey, producer, do you still have the picture of the ROH title and the Impact Women's title?
Oh, you're gonna say it's an amalgamation of those two?
And go ahead and the Impact one as well. And then go ahead and put it up. Put it up on the thing. I felt like it was a combination of these two belts. Do you see them from there?
I was gonna say what it made me think of, and it's not maybe as direct, but it made me think of.
Well, those two plus the IGPW. A lot of curlies.
I saw so much of the or Big Old Belt. Those two plus Big Old Belt, because Big Old Belt has a lot of the curlies in it.
That's true. I liked it. I think it's a bit much for people to say greatest looking title in the history of all time. I think
God, I hate fanboys.
it's a little much. I do like it. I do think it's a pretty title. My only criticism of it, and it's completely okay, not everything's for everybody, I don't like long plates on the side like that. Like the way the Impact Knockouts title is over here. These long plates on the side. I don't like it when it's that way and a little more form-fitting. Whereas with the ROH one, it's a little bit more like a giant buckle that's been split. And they're kind of doing a combination of that, where it looks like the most largest buckle of all time that has 2 splits in it so it can fold. So I get that aspect of it, and I think that's neat. I'm more personally a fan of big fucking belt buckle and 2 little belt buckles. Any design of anyone I've ever liked has always been that way. Big thing, little on the side. Sometimes 1 or 2 plates on the side is also fine, but like the giant shape with the cuts in it is what it looks like. I'm just not a big fan of that particular detail.
I think so. I actually like the big side plates. My biggest complaint, I do have, and I want to like it, but that part of me who likes form and consistent design, I can't stand all the curlies and things, and then fucking like a sans serif text, very bolded out AEW.
I thought that looked a little weird, but I was okay with it.
It looks like you tacked the shit on. Do the whole belt in like straight, like in like do this would be a face to do like the what is it, fucking Art Deco or some different form of the logo.
Yeah.
To work,
or have it be a part of the thing, because like you're right, it's above it. It's almost impossible. It looks like they screwed it onto it, and you can get rid of the belts.
Well, this is also like the WWE belts. The current ones are, I don't like them, but I also think they work better in this promotion than these, because those are showing you how you can make a belt that doesn't look like this old aged grand thing.
True. my biggest complaint about the new belts is I don't like the size of the logo. I don't like that the belt is the logo. I don't like the main medallion. Yeah. Yeah, like the most important thing is our branding. Everything else is secondary. I mean, that's why I loved all the other belts. Even the Winged Eagle had the logo on it, but right up on top. They always integrated the logo some way, and then they eventually just went like, fuck it, all logo. All logo. And then the little side plates where it's like, okay, you can do your own little thing. Instead of doing a nameplate, we'll have little side plates. And I like that. I think it's kitschy with the icons and stuff like that. I don't see the AEW needs to do that. I wouldn't want a giant AEW logo with two little side plates where they can put their own thing. I don't think I would want that either.
Yeah.
Like I said, I do think it is a very pretty belt. I do think it's pretty cool. In the Being the Elite, Nick Jackson's walking around with it for a little bit.
And
it looked big.
It's like, fuck.
Yeah, so I thought that looked cool and all.
Your time here, that's big.
I don't like those almost like perforated fold looking spots. And that's just a small detail, not like, oh, I don't like the belt. But I don't like it when the belt has places to move. I'd rather it be a buckle and other things. You know what I mean?
I think they lost an opportunity to put butterfly wings on it, though.
Ooh.
Yeah.
These guys are fucking divas. Just kidding. That's a joke.
When you said the big three is to say number one.
Yeah. I mean, even the big eagle. You know, they put the logo on top, the world and the eagle and stuff, and then the side plates that didn't change. And that one, I don't even think they had a spot where you could put your name. This one or the other one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't look. I didn't see a place for the name on that one either. But I just like those big on the sides. I mean, even the ECW title I liked a lot. Same kind of deal.
Yeah, I just didn't like the damn script on it. Like, what you talking about? WWE ECW or ECW ECW?
ECW, not the WWE ECW.
I don't like it now, but I think it was perfect for that promotion at the time.
I can give you that. So there's that, and MJF comes out, cuts a promo. I'll tell you this, everyone's talking about MJF being the biggest thing of all time, and I figure I'll come around to him, but I'm just not seeing it or feeling it yet. Apparently he's also only been wrestling 3 years or something.
He's pretty new.
So
he was on a WWE a few years ago, I think 4 or 5 years back, where he got pushed. He was a side talent, walking, and I don't know who slammed him into a wall.
Oh, that's funny.
No, Brock. He was escorting Brock. No, Joe. He was escorting Joe to the ring for NXT. So around 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And pushes him to a wall.
That's funny.
And that's why he's evil now.
Oh, is that what they say?
Yeah.
That's funny. Paige comes out, and so you got MJF and Paige, who seem like top tier talent, getting into a little bit, and then Havoc and Jungle Boy come out, and that just seemed way out of place. I don't know why Adam Page needs their help for someone like MJF. If MJF's kind of a shit-eating heel, then I don't see why someone as big as your number one contender needs the help of a 12-year-old boy and an emo kid.
Well, don't talk shit about that assistant manager of that Hot Topic. Does well. But, so in Being the Elite, they've had where MJF, one of the things has always been where he just does nice, and then when Cody disappears, just shit talks him.
Yeah.
He's done a few segments that were really impactful with Jimmy Havoc and with Jungle Boy. So
we didn't mention that.
It, but then we get back to some of these. If you're not invested in the topic, you're not gonna see it.
Yeah, and
Which
apparently
I encourage you all to watch Being the Elite.
Yeah, because apparently the announcers are not, so they don't know to tell you that. So either the announcers need to start watching their own fucking product, or I guess we got to pick up their slack.
Do the announcers on WWE watch their own product? Because sometimes it feels the same way.
Now the coach is gone, it doesn't. Coach never watched wrestling, and it was embarrassing. Couldn't stand that fuck.
That's a pin there. Oh, that is a suplex.
Yeah, and the fucking coach said there, the bar comes in and goes, so what's the bar? What do you guys mean the bar? And then Corey's all because they came out to do commentating. He's like, let me ask you guys a question. What's the deal with the bar? Why do you guys yourself the bar? That's it's weird. And then Sheamus and Cesaro were like, what? And then Corey's all they've been calling themselves that for well over a year now, and it's been pretty regularly established that they don't set the bar, they are the bar, hence they are called the bar. And then Coach is all I like that. What the fuck?
Well, that's pretty clever.
Yeah, I couldn't stand Coach.
How much money are you making tonight?
Dude, Coach should be on AEW. Fuck it.
One of the things I like.
Let's see. After that, Oh fuck! I did some bad here. Okay. After that, we end up with the Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks. Did you see this?
I saw some of the highlights. I saw some spots which were good, but
Yeah. Young Bucks get the win. There's again no rules in tag team wrestling in AEW.
and that was something that I know that a lot of times Young Bucks matches are not tag matches, or they fall apart quickly and turn into everyone fighting everyone, and
Yeah.
that's fine. But
This is also the third or fourth match where we've seen that now.
it would be cool if it was like, fuck it, 1-on-1, and they really obeyed it and actually put restrictions on them. Where I think it'd be cool if you took out one of each team. Like, no, you both being sent back, so it becomes a 1-on-1 match between Matt and Nick or Pentagon and Phoenix.
Yeah, 100%. I think that there's this is it's one thing to say you're stifled creativity or you're stifling creativity if you don't let me do the things I want to do or say the things I want to say. It's another thing to say that you're the best wrestler in the world, except if you have to follow the rules of wrestling. Like, if you're really that good, then given the rules, you should be able to still tell the same story you want to tell and still get the same spots in there one way or the other, right? And that's really what this match felt like, is it felt like a lot of spots. It felt like absolutely no rules. Let's see, they say there was a 10 count after the tag, but everyone was coming in whenever they wanted and got their spots in. The ref never counted one time or even directed a teammate to exit the ring. The entire match, the ref was just not involved and disengaged. And it felt a lot like, let's get our stuff in. Oh, I know this thing. Oh, I can do this cool thing. Let's do this cool thing. It wasn't natural or it didn't make sense. I will say this, in its defense, going into the match, I did not like the Young Bucks at all. I've never liked the Young Bucks. Leaving the match, I do like the Young Bucks. I do think they're very talented. I do think they're very skilled and could potentially do things. However, that match you guys put on did not tell much of a story, did not make a lot of sense. It was not very natural, but I can see your potential, and I can see that it's not even potential like down the line. You have immediate potential.
Yeah.
You could do a few things now that would not require you to change almost anything to become great.
I wonder if, and so in Jericho with John Moxley,
Yeah.
he said Cody told me wrestling can be anything. And that's something that I liked and it connected here. Don't then limit yourself by doing dipshit things like a 10 count. This wouldn't be a bad match without it. If you're going to put that limitation and then enforce it, and you could conversely make this an awesome match by eliminating someone. Make it a handicap. Make it a 1-on-1, like I said. Or not have it all and have it be the best spot fest of all time, because they do great spot fest.
Great.
Own up what they do. They all do.
They do. But they were doing stuff that was unnatural. Like I mentioned in the last show, there's a whole spot. Did you get to see that spot?
Pop. Why is he hurt? Why is he hurt? I got the other shit. Why is he hurt?
But you saw it, right?
Yeah,
You finally saw that one little GIF? Yeah. He's sitting there holding up, I believe it was, I think it was Phoenix. And Phoenix just jumps from second rope to second rope over and over while Nick Jackson is just holding him up, keeping his balance. Don't want you to fall, buddy. Just trying to keep up my opponent. Want you to be okay. Who then goes and Hurricane Rana's, the Young Bucks partner, into the ring, to which case, as he does that, Nick Jackson goes, "Oh, I should crumble. I'm hurt." What the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
You know what I mean, it just didn't make sense. And it was just, everyone was just, oh, and freaking out because of the jumping move, which was really nice, but at least jump down into an arm drag. Yeah. Arm drag a Young Buck or something. Or why the fuck is the Young Buck holding you up? Your own partner should be holding you up if that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense. It would have made so much more sense, actually, if it was Pentagon holding him up. He does those things. He does that Hurricane Rana, and then he immediately turns to Nick Jackson and runs and does some crazy spot with him. But instead, you get a Young Buck crumbling because he held up someone.
I think, and maybe part of this I really wanted to see too with the Lucha Brothers, and this is a thing generally, the Lucha Brothers that's annoyed the shit out of me. They talk about them being like, they kind of perpetuate this, like they're fearless and they're these strong, hardcore.
Cero mero.
But they're not doing shit that he did in Lucha Underground, which Pentagon and Lucha Underground, fantastic. And he was a different style. He could do the high flying stuff, but I love when he would do powerbomb to the knee. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Or really good soul sit down power bombs, or when he do the arm break, that thing Shayna Baszler does, or his no DQ match with Vampiro, where it just turns into like a light tube death match.
Yeah.
Which do that shit. Make yourself scary, because now it feels like they've become, since they got out of Lucha Underground, and this is everywhere, they've become honestly more, and they're the best at this, but they become more and more of a generic Lucha tag team.
Yes.
They're the best Lucha tag team, but
dude, they could join the Lucha House Party.
They could host the Lucha House Party. They're the best, but they could do more by being like Pentagon's. He's very agile, but he's a bigger dude, surprisingly bigger than Phoenix. Like for math and stuff, use that. He doesn't have to be jumping around. He can keep selling, but power moves are fucking amazing.
Oh yeah. No, and I do think it was a real lost opportunity there because no one got to shine the way that I think they really could have. And at this point, you are following Cody and Dustin, which was an honest, fucking visceral wrestling match.
I'm sorry, guys.
And now you guys are going to go out there and put on a spot fest of, hey, make sure I get my shit in. Hey, ref, don't pay attention. Like, come on, man. Yeah. Like, it's just, it was two different shows. Actually, I think Cornette called that the tale of two shows. He said there was like two separate shows happening at the same time, and it was very confusing. Ultimately, the Young Bucks got the win, and they retained the AAA title. So we have our first title defense in a brand new company, and it's not theirs. Come on. Also, the AEW title doesn't show up till a spot right before here, but before then, we've seen several other belts out there that are not theirs. I get it. They're doing this whole, we talk to other companies and all that stuff, and I get that, and I think it's cool, but this is your first assertion of who you are as a company. And you only flash a belt that's going to happen later. You got a bunch of other people's stuff on there. It makes me wonder, is this something I should I care that they're AAA champions? Does it matter? Are they going to lose them on this show, or do I got to watch some Mexican TV to find it? Like, do I got to find some sort of black box to get Mexican channels to watch AAA? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to watch their stuff. Do I got to get like an internet?
It's on Twitch. They put all their shit on Twitch for free.
Oh, hey guys, right here on Twitch.
Yeah. See? Please, AAA sponsor. Actually, no, don't.
I don't want to be associated with them. I don't want them
I've
around.
heard the horrible things.
It sounds bad.
Yeah.
Apart from that, like I said, I did walk away. I did like the Lucha Brothers going into the match. I did not like the Young Bucks going into the match. I did like the Young Bucks coming out of it because I saw them do a lot more stuff than I'm used to seeing them do. So I was like, okay, cool. They're qualified to do cool shit, but are they going to get to the point of telling great stories? Because I still don't know if that's the case yet. That brings us to the main event, Jericho versus Omega 2. They're outside of the ring so long. Did you watch this?
The only things that I was looking for gifs and spots of it was the end, which was
yeah.
cool.
There's not much because the match was not better than anything else happening that night.
And it wasn't the best of their matches.
Nope.
Don't get me wrong, Jericho and Omega are good. I don't know if they mesh yet, and it's because Jericho's a slower dude, and I think we've seen Kenny Omega do fucking amazing stuff. I am not gonna say Kenny's carrying Jericho, but I mean, it does.
Jericho looked bad.
Yeah.
He didn't look like he was in good shape.
Yeah.
Which I was really surprised by.
All those goddamn videos of him working out and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, his new move sucks.
I did not
the
like
elbow.
It. Yeah,
you have the code breaker, the lion salt, which I don't know if you can do lion salt anymore, buddy, but they're fantastic moves. You don't have to do more. Your Insecurity itself's awesome. Put more power into that. Say, I've been working on this. But no,
his 100%. Yeah, his spinning elbow felt like I'm getting lazy.
About 3 years ago, Jericho tweeted at Kenny Omega that you're not even the best wrestler in Winnipeg. Kenny Omega is the best wrestler from Winnipeg.
Yeah. Let's see. So this match starts happening, and they go outside of the ring. They're then outside of the ring for so long that JR says, he had to say this because they're out for so long. He goes, the count out is discretionary, and the importance of the match must be why the ref is not counting them out. Because they've been out for so long and the ref is not doing anything, that he's saying it's a discretionary rule. That all rules are discretionary by the ref.
Maybe that's when he said, hey, maybe you should explain this. They really shouldn't have taken that lightly because that would have helped the rest of the pay-per-view. It's discretionary. Oh, so the refs can be by it? But it doesn't help at all. It's just shit.
Yep. Then they used tables. And they were not disqualified in this no DQ match.
Obvious.
Again, rules are discretionary. Let's see. Oh, it's not a disqualification match. Rope definitely breaks the count. Yeah, they said a couple times, well, it's discretionary. The ref must know how important this match is. That's why he's not counting them out. That's why he's not disqualifying them from using these tables. I don't think that it's impossible to make a match that has rules that allow you to do those. Mm-hmm. So make the match with those rules instead of making the refs look so fucking stupid.
Just make it a no DQ match, because in Japan, they've done decent no DQ matches, or have it end in it. That'd be cool, and then have it just keep...
Have them be disqualified.
Yeah, and then keep beating the shit out of each other. Also, I don't know if this had the build enough to do that, because it seemed settled.
It did.
And I don't think we need to go back to this.
And
I think it would have been better to invest time to have Hangman Page turn. Mm-hmm. Or have someone fucking turn. Or build someone new up. I love Jericho. He is my favorite wrestler of all time. But this isn't good.
It was bad. It wasn't a good match. I was really embarrassed the other day. He tweeted about that match being a classic. He goes, the classic match that we put on at a Double or Nothing, and I actually felt a little embarrassed for him because I was like, honest to God, you had the first match with him, and if you felt that this match held up to that match, then I feel bad for what's coming. Because there's no way that if you felt that was a classic that you're going to continue to put on work that's better than this.
I know you defined your career by reinventing yourself and becoming this different person. However, this is not your best you, and I really get tired also of hearing your podcast and hearing your guests say that, because that's bullshit.
Yeah, also his entrance was showing all of his iterations of the company.
Which I did like that.
I liked it, but another shout out to WWE that was not necessary.
Fair. The list of your... Yeah. I thought it was cool, but yeah, and also I don't like the new... I don't like the face paint Jericho. I don't like... It just looks... And he looks...
And had a fucking Crackle barrel in the ring during the entrance. A barrel that had the Cracker Barrel logo on it.
And they weren't sponsoring this year's thing.
Yes, they were.
Really?
They were a sponsor, and they put a fucking thing in the middle. And then the ref tries to gets the barrel out of the ring, and he couldn't because he tries to go under the bottom rope. He looks at Jericho and goes, "How do we get it out?" And Jericho's like, "I don't fucking care, because why would he care? He's a heel." And then so he tries to push it underneath the rope, and he's trying to move it, and he can't go.
Spatial reasoning.
Jericho gets pissed, pushes the ref out of the side, grabs the barrel, and goes between the middle and the bottom rope, where obviously the rope should then whoop, and it pops out. And he turns around and goes, "You're such a fucking idiot," to the ref. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Cool with that part.
Yeah, I was happy with that. But I will say that it was another nod to WWE that didn't need to be there. The fact that there was an advertisement in the middle of the ring reminded me a lot of WCW.
Well, it feels like Jericho as a heel in this iteration isn't Jericho as a heel that makes sense, because he would be better as MJF.
Yeah.
He would be better as, I'm here because you fuckers need me.
Yeah.
I'm here. Yeah, I could go to WWE. I'm here because you need me. And have that entrance be the same way, and that makes sense. This is all the shit I've done. All the places I've been. Y'all need me because I am everything that came before you, that inspired you, and that created you.
Yeah.
But no, we get angry old man Jericho, which sucks. He looks and acts like a retired rock star. And I don't, again, love the dude, but goddamn, I don't like this gimmick.
Yeah.
I don't like this match. I don't...
And actually, we'll tell you that I did lose respect from him this trip. And it's not like, I booed him more this trip around. But we'll get back to the Starrcast ramifications of this match, and it actually made me lose respect for him as an entity that I'm a fan of. So, but I will say, it was just another nod to WWE that didn't need to be there. It had a fucking advertisement in the middle of the ring, which I didn't like. It looked fucking goofy. It looked silly. It was dumb. And here's the other thing I was going to say. From a production standpoint, the guy holding the list of Jericho has a Starrcast bracelet on. I want to say it was the...
Imagine if it's not platinum.
It was platinum. But he had a Starrcast bracelet on in one of the other iterations. I don't remember if it was the Lionheart or the jacket, but for a second you see the other guy's wrist and they have a bracelet on as well. And I just thought to myself, WWE would never let some motherfucker walk out there with a fucking event bracelet on. Just would not fucking happen. They would do whatever it takes. I'll get you another bracelet. Doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? Like, how do you, from that level of production, the dude's holding it with the hand of the fucking Starrcast thing. I was like, you gotta be out of your fucking mind. Like, it looked so amateur, dude. I was like, did you guys ask a fan if he wanted to be a part of this? So stupid. But apart from that entrance being what I felt like was a mess, ultimately Jericho gets the win with the Judas effect, which is a very lazy finish.
And the name sucks too.
Really bad.
And I don't. Okay, I mean.
And it came from nowhere, and he dies.
I'll be honest, like, I don't. Shit's dumb. Like, it's upsetting. It's just, like, it is. The name's dumb, the fucking move's dumb. I don't like his entrance music anymore. And
he puts on Judas, but he plays it at a weird spot.
I don't like the song.
I like the song, but I didn't like the way they started it. Matter of fact, I'm a big fan of Fozzy. I listen to Fozzy albums all the time. On top of being a fan of Jericho, like, it was really upsetting for me to like go through this and be like, wow, I've lost respect for a dude I like a lot. Yeah, but I don't want to like. That's all we got for you. I'm gonna need probably ginger beer or something. But it was.
I can't drink alcohol, so I'm drinking.
Get it. It was also the way that it came out of nowhere and ended, which I get it is also part of the whole gimmick of it of like, hey, it can get anybody, it can do anything, it's almost versatile. It also led for very little build. So it just suddenly happened and the whole crowd was just kind of like,
Okay.
oh. When you see the 3 count happen, there's something that shows, something that shows the audience. And in there you see people in pockets standing up after the 3 count. But whoa. All right, that's how you open a can right there, all silent and shit. Boop. Let's see.
Sponsorships. It's decent.
Yeah. Let's see. So he does that, and then he starts demanding a thank you. This is what ties into Starrcast. So I'll get to that, and then we'll go back to what happens here. He's demanding a thank you. I want everyone to thank me. I need a thank you.
Wait. More about how shitty that move is.
Oh, yeah.
And in comparison to Kenny Omega, and what frustrates me about this, Kenny Omega has 2 of my favorite moves. The one-winged angel, and then all those variants of that, because it looks impactful, it looks hard, which makes it part of the story is it's a bitch to pull off because you have to get someone in a weird position, and it works and it's protected, but it's hard to get it going. And the V trigger, which is now Seth Rollins' Revolution knee,
the ripcord knee.
Bam. That's a good out of nowhere finish because it's a knee to the damn face, and he pulls it really well. This stupid turn, it just looks like some neckbeard.
Yeah.
Like, it just looks stupid. It's like, it's... I mean,
Yeah, it looks like you're falling. As a matter of fact, what was it? Andrade does it.
Better.
He does it better, and I've seen him do it and thought he made a mistake because it also can come off really sloppy. Where I'm like, oh, he bumped into somebody. So if it doesn't come off right, it looks like you just bumped into a motherfucker.
And if you're gonna do it, at least 2 kicks ahead of it. Something. Like it, especially after like we've seen Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada, which I'm having trouble pronouncing that name. And in those matches, Okada's finisher is the Rainmaker, which that lariat pull in, like the rip pull in lariat, and that looks good. I have a hard time believing an elbow does more than a pull in lariat with that.
Yeah.
From a dude who's about 50 pounds bigger than Jericho and about 6 inches taller.
Yeah, I'm probably in shape.
Yeah, and doesn't look like he gave up.
Yeah. Man, it just sucks, man. I love Jericho so fucking much. And I was so disappointed in this. I was like, fuck. And this is also your headline. I was like, fuck. I remember even telling, so before each match, I told my girlfriend who was going to win each match. And, mind you, I was right. Every single match, I called the finish, or the winner, more so than the finish, before it even took place. And that was also upsetting. I wanted to be surprised. I wanted them to make a statement. I don't want obvious booking. I get enough obvious booking. I want you to be an alternative. You got EVP, you win. The fuck, man? Like, you're already really on dicey ground right now. I thought it'd been so big if Young Bucks would have lost the titles there. But that would have been huge because it'd been like, fuck, they're the EVPs and they just lost the titles on their first show.
And then moving forward, I agree with you. Building back up, you have people who
Then you have
to build from zero.
right? But then you have the Lucha Brothers who took their AAA titles. You introduce a tag title to the situation, and now you have a tournament. And what do you get? Oh my God, Young Bucks and Lucha Brothers for the new AEW tag titles? Holy shit. Last time we saw the Lucha Brothers, they took their titles. We know the Young Bucks have a hard time beating them. That would have been a great build, but instead it was an obvious win where it's like, okay, well now what are you building towards? Nothing.
Yeah.
This was the one match where at the beginning I said, this is a weird lose-lose situation right now. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, because Jericho has to win. He has to win because he did that big loss in Japan. And if he loses again, then it's like, what the fuck is Jericho doing if he can't win 2 matches a year? Yeah. You know, what is he doing? So I was like, so he has to win this match. I was like, but the problem is Jericho's been building a ton of heat with him and Cody that he's got something to do next. So if you don't have Kenny Omega go for your title, you have nothing for Kenny to do anymore. So I was like, so I don't know what would happen with Kenny if they don't. So it's almost like Kenny has to win because they literally have nothing else to do with him. Then boom, now we have something else to do with him. But I was like, Kenny's got to win it, or Jericho's got to win it because of the 50-50 booking.
Yes.
I used 50-50 booking rules on this one, and I got it all right.
And I could see, well, the only thing I could see is if there's someone who could lose and make it good, it's Kenny. I could see Kenny come from the bottom and come up because he's done that where he's lost and he's struggled.
He also lost clean. You had the babyface lose in an undisputed fashion.
I could see him coming back up though. I could see him being like the Gargano story, but done better.
Yes, but you also have no reason to have Jericho involved anymore. They got their 50-50s on it. And I was just thinking, like, if you had Jericho win, you'd always have that tingling little, like, if you cheated to win, you'd always have that little bit, but did you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they did everything so fucking clean that it really didn't build up to anything else.
Well, and the thing with this, which, again, by doing it this way, in this manner, this is Omega Okada. Three matches, no defined winner, so it's the best of 3. 1-1, like I won, you won, then we got to figure out who wins it all. It's probably going to be for the title. And the thing with the Okada match trilogy, which made it so good, is both of those guys, I don't think Okada gets the credit for what he is, are at their best and are probably the best. Yeah. Okada is fucking amazing. He doesn't get it enough because Kenny is just that bit better and can talk in English.
Is he the other Golden Lover?
No, Kazuchika Okada is who Kenny got the belt from. He's the guy with the blonde hair. He's the Rainmaker.
Yeah.
Comes up and he goes like this. And he's who Kenny had. The reason Kenny Omega is Kenny Omega to the world is that series with Okada.
Yeah.
And justifiably, it is fantastic. Yeah. This is not going to be the same thing. This is going to be, okay, cool, Kenny Omega, we know you're going to fucking win because you're 34. You are the best wrestler in the world. And Chris Jericho is not going to be doing the show every week. He is a rock star.
Yeah, and he's pretty much checked out in such a weird way.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Right. And I really hope Jericho doesn't. I honestly want Hangman to get the belt. I don't want Jericho to get the belt.
Yeah, I don't know how you give the title to Jericho.
Because it just buries Hangman.
Yeah.
And
Hangman's had such a little build because of all that horrible shit that's going on. But
yeah,
I digress. So what ends up happening, he demands for a thank you, and then Moxley arrives through the audience, and it's fucking crazy and so good. I was surprised, even with the rumors. I was like, I don't know. And then it came out, and I was like, all right, well, I guess now we know. He comes out. My favorite part was also Jericho turns around, and he goes, what are you doing here? You don't work here? Which is so funny. And then he dirty deeds Jericho, and then he starts to brawl with Omega. Now we have something for Omega and Dean to do, or Moxley to do. But the problem with that is that they've now built 2 matches for Moxley, and Kenny Omega's not involved, man. Fucking what's going on? You just beat the shit out of Kenny Omega, and he doesn't care? Like, I'm trying to figure out why we've got 4 promos of Moxley talking shit about Joey Janela, the dude in NJPW, and what's the other match he's got coming up?
So he's got Joey Janela, Juice in NJPW, and
Juice.
Jay White.
Yeah. He's got those happening, and it's like, where the fuck is Omega in this? The whole point was building up to the Omega, I thought. And Omega doesn't seem to give a shit, but, you know, Moxley's trying to fuck up everybody, which is cool, but...
It's a challenge. I mean, it's better to book yourself into a spot where we're, like, asking what will you do than a spot where it's like, okay, I know how this is going to go 6 months from now. I know that when Tommaso Ciampa comes back from his neck injury, it's going to be the last match with him and Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, that's true. Ultimately, Mox and Omega go out into the audience. Moxley does a dirty deeds on the poker chips.
Yep.
Then he does an AA off of the chips. And I was all like,
Their thingy he fell on looked better than the one from WrestleMania.
yes.
It at least didn't go.
Yeah, no, the thing he fell on was good. I thought the spot was good, but I did find it curious that John Moxley did the AA.
You think that's another reference to...
I felt like it was.
Well,
It
yes.
might not be. Who else does that move? No one.
Yeah. And I think it's a thing he could do that looks cool because he is way bigger now.
Yeah.
And he looked good.
Yeah.
Like, I was happy.
And part of the establishing of the strength of Cena was when he could get people into the AA. So if you wanted to establish the strength of Moxley, it's a move that establishes strength. But I just thought it was really peculiar. I thought it was a little weird. I was all like, why did he do that move? Still a cool move, still good, and powerful. And it does seem to lead into a thing that they have not let it lead into yet. And that brings us to the end of the show. I was really happy with it overall, but I really would say that it took the roads to wash a lot of that other shit out of my mouth. It was the roads, the 4-way with the women, and
The run-in from Moxley, really.
the run-in from Moxley.
That's how you do a good, impactful ending.
You know what sucks, though? That's three moments in a card that had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, at about 20 different spots because I put little bullet points by each spot, each segment. And really, there's 3 of them that made me go, this made it a good show. It's really upsetting that you've got that much weight on these people.
Fair. But, and if we're going to do the comparison back and forth, I will throw this out. We have seen WWE pay-per-views that had 0. And you're like, okay, cool, we watched Battleground. The Great Khali came out. That, if anything, is the opposite of a pop and I'm pissed.
Yeah. No, 100%. There are things that have been worse, but it does mean to me that they have a lot of room to grow.
Yeah.
And I think by people saying that it was the greatest show, bar none, of all time, greatest pay-per-view in the history of pay-per-views, you're doing them a disservice and you're not giving them the honest feedback they're going to need to become what we all know they're capable of becoming. That's just it, is I want this to be a company around in 30 fucking years. I want to have a 30-year... I don't know what they're going to call their show, but how they did with the 30 years of, or 25 years of Raw, I want to see that with AEW. I want to have a 25-year episode for AEW. I'm not trying to bury them because I don't like them and I want them to go away or anything like that. I want them to succeed, and I think that these are glaring problems that if we ignore now, and if you want me to pretend that this stuff's not happening, it's only going to be a year before everyone else starts seeing it and gets upset with it. Yeah. It's going to become very tiresome after a while. So we have to look at it now. And to be fair, I love WWE, and this is what we do every week, is we break down what's good, what's bad, what we like, what we wish. Same thing with AEW. What's good, what's bad, what we like, what we wish. I wish for the greatest success. I like a lot of these guys. I felt like 5 key things that they need to focus on to turn this into a real viable competitor, because I think they do have all the capabilities of doing that.
Show me your 5 things.
First and foremost was the refs. The refs need to enforce rules. They shouldn't be sacrificed for the sake of getting in spots. You shouldn't be saying, rules aside, the spot needs to happen.
Or establish that they're discretionary at the damn beginning, or don't put dipshit rules.
And rules can't be discretionary because then they're not rules. Then it's like you said, it's ref bias.
Yeah.
It doesn't become long before it's like, oh, with this ref, he doesn't seem to care about countouts.
Then again, you're biased toward refs.
Yes. Let's see. If the story you want to tell, how to put it? If that's the story you want to tell, in a match? What? I wrote this wrong. If that's the story you're trying to tell, then you need to be in the match with a stipulation that allows it. Because that's just it. Is wrestling always has a way to bend the rules. There's so many types of matches that say forget rules, no rules, none of this one rule, more of this specific rule. That's all there because we all want that storytelling. We all know that it's capable of being there. But at the end of the day, you can't go in there establishing rules and then say, fuck it, I couldn't get my spot in with it, so I did it anyways, and we just forgot the rules.
Well, and the best, most endearing moments have been where not where you have everything available to you. Like, very rarely is the best match I've ever seen a no DQ match street fight. Mm-hmm. The best match is a match where it turns into that, but it's because of being crafty. It's because it's not that Eddie Guerrero cheated and was able to take his boot off. It's that Eddie Guerrero hid the action and then it occurred. It's that, it's not that Eddie Guerrero and John Layfield had a fucking bloodbath of a match. It's that, it's that it was a weird stipulation. It went to happen and it still worked.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's all possible, and I think that ultimately, I was left. How did I put it? I didn't understand what the refs were doing, and most namely, I didn't understand. I didn't understand what the refs were doing, but namely, what they were doing was either nothing or messing up spots. So I felt like that if you want me to take you as a serious sports entity, if you want to bring sports statistics into it, and you want me to believe in your story and your simulated combat, there has to be established rules, and they have to be abided by. And we had a whole fucking pay-per-view with a ton of things that were outside the rules and not a single disqualification. So that means either none of your refs know the rules, or none of the wrestlers care about the rules, or there are just no rules. At which point, if you just have refs as counters, then that's fine. Yeah. Just say that, hey, we don't have rules here, but the refs are there to count. Okay. I also think the idea of getting in spots is possible. Like I said, if this is the way you have to tell that story, there's a way to tell it.
Yeah, just utilize the restrictions. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to bring it all to the table. Or if you're going to do it, have a restriction. Bringing it all to the table is meant to mean that you're struggling to do it. You're carrying a big load of something. You're putting it down. It's not that you just have it there available to you. If you do, then what's the point?
Yeah.
If it's...
I think that the biggest glaring problem with that was Kenny versus Jericho, because that was seriously a no DQ match that was positioned as a regular match, and the commentators had to keep saying that rules were discretionary. This just didn't make sense, man. No. If you want to tell me a 10 count's more realistic and believable than a 5 count, you're going to tell me that rules being discretionary is more realistic and believable than rules not being a discretionary by ref?
If you're going to have something like that occur, then you need to do something like in New Japan where it's Red Shoes who's the ref, and you take him out and you just fuck the match. The match is over, but we're just beating the shit out of you and the ref. It looks cool that way. Make it compelling, but don't make it pointless. It's like a super group, like in music. It's not as compelling as everyone making the band and trying to grow. It's okay. You're all. This show felt like a bunch of people who were really excited for making it for a concert, and then you're like, okay, well, but the rest of it's playing those 5 songs we've heard 20 times, and I'm not liking it because it's the bassist is not playing it the bassist sucks, or we're gonna alter it for this thing because this is the new singer,
Yeah, or if like your favorite band came out and they were gonna do a tour where they only played their first album, they had a 25 press release. Okay, so that's really for like a few people who heard that first album. Yeah. I'm not gonna play anything or you're gonna sing along to. But if you were in when I first started, then you will. It's kind of like, okay, I felt like you alienated a lot of people. I didn't even put that in there as their big issue being that they were alienating so many people, but that would be like an honorable mention. Stop trying to pretend everybody already knows all your shit. You're day one, man. Be day one.
And that's something think unfairly I argue because I've watched it, but you're not wrong, and I agree with you. As I've said, it's the YouTube thing. Realistically, if you're gonna grow it, you need to do more, and part of this also is putting more of it out yourself on social media.
Or let's see what happens with TNT. Maybe
you're not too big to have a Facebook page for your shit. Put it on Facebook.
That's true.
Yeah.
Number 2 was instead of taking jabs at WWE, because they spent a lot of airtime doing that, then, like I said, establish yourselves. Maybe use the time that you were using to poke jabs at Triple H and Vince McMahon to instead honor and remember Dusty's legacy and how that ties into your vision of this new promotion.
That would have been really good. I really would have liked. I would have liked, rather than going to WWE, going to other things you liked.
Yes.
Like,
And that's what I thought of. There's no reason that they can't sit here and lean on the legacy of Dusty Rhodes being at the heart and the soul of their vision of this company. The only person who made mention, there was 2 characters in AEW who made mentions of Dusty Rhodes, and you won't believe who those 2 were. Tommy Dreamer and the audience. No one else. Well, I guess Cody sort of did by saying God in front of God and a favor in front of God and everybody.
yeah. Well,
But at the end of the day, you spent more time talking about WWE and how you're not WWE and how they're unrealistic and how you want to tell me if 5 counts unrealistic and I have Glacier spray mist in a motherfucker's face and freeze him? Fuck out of here. I'm a backhand Jerry Lawler. Not Lawler. I love Lawler. JR, you got it coming. Although I bought your barbecue sauce, it was great.
It's decent. Honestly, it's tasting worse and worse with how this went.
Yeah, getting bad taste in my mouth. That barbecue sauce.
Casey. Casey
But I thought how beautiful would that have been instead of a fucking throne of Triple H to destroy, you had put something up of Dusty Rhodes to honor. We're here to honor his legacy and take his vision a step further than he was able to do.
Yeah.
God, that would have been powerful and would have been immediately invested in this company. Where now what you've asked me to do is try to split my focus between you and a different company.
Yeah.
You know? And so I felt like that was, although that was number 2 on the list, I feel like it's probably the single most important thing. Stop talking about them, start talking about you, and tie it into things we already love. It's all right there, man.
Well, and it also leads to such a mixed message because I think you're listening to Jericho's podcast with Moxley. I loved it. I love the stories, and I loved hearing the frustrations, and I think it's a valid thing. But
It didn't say a lot about AEW. If your goal was to promote,
it was like the Punk podcast. This is 2 hours of bitching, and I mean it's valid, and I can understand your points, but it's 2 hours of bitching about where I used to work in my job interview for my new place. Because effectively, what you're doing, because we haven't seen too much of you, is interviewing to an audience. Mm-hmm. It's like when you're interviewing someone and they say, you ask, why didn't you like the last place? Drama. I hated this. Why the fuck am I hiring you?
Yeah. I hated all the management. Me and management never get along. They always tell me what to do and I hate it.
Fuck off.
It's like, okay, how are you not going to hate me then? I agree, although I do think that Moxley did a good job of balancing how he perceived things a certain way, and it was his experience, and that's how he felt more so than fuck these people and all that shit, which I don't know that he went that way with a few other people, but...
Well, one thing, and I think it's kind of tiresome too, because he's just the latest person in this, but the narrative of, I can't thank him enough, but...
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, there's the point where it's like, the but is what I'm hearing, because that old adage of a sentence really, the truth in a sentence comes after saying but.
Yeah, I don't mean to be racist, but it's always racist. Although, by the way, another TV viewer, if you're still watching, go ahead and put the I in following and the no in notifications. We appreciate you coming through.
But I'm not racist, but.
You're not racist, but... and I do feel that was true, although I think that he did acknowledge the fact that without WWE, AEW wouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
And that's also just true. So it's weird to try and shit on something that would not have... Jericho wouldn't be Jericho. Moxley wouldn't be Moxley.
Yes.
Cody wouldn't be Cody.
And I think, in a sense, the best Cody interview, and I think, the best Cody and the best Kenny interviews have been in Edge and Christian's. And I really loved Cody's Edge and Christian one, because he did talk more about how he's connected with Triple H. and this is when he was out, and people were saying, well, he hates it, and there'd been interviews there where he talked about his frustration, but he spent basically the entire time, no, he at one point he's going through, he's like, no, it was really positive, and it also kind of made me think, like, going back and listening. There's been times where they've made comparisons and comments, but if anything, they've been less attacking of WWE, the Bucks, Cody and Kenny, than a lot of their other big people.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of, I think that's something, if I could throw caution or a point there, is if you have any control over your talent, what they say, maybe you need to get past the ability, you need to get past this point of the talent you have shit talking with Eastwork.
Because at the end of the day, too, what they're trying to foster into is the same dichotomy that we have in our politics, where it's this or this. Whether I agree or not, well, my party agrees, so fuck the other party. You're going to create that in wrestling, and I don't think anyone wants that.
Yeah.
Maybe someone wants it. I don't want that. I want a wrestling community where I tell you about the cool stuff I saw in AEW, and I mention who my favorite WWE champion is. And you don't get this whole like, well, fuck them, they suck. You know what they did to this fucking dude? I want a world where all wrestling fans can be wrestling fans and not company fans.
Fandom breeds success, but to a point.
Yeah, that's why I put these out. We're doing an AEW and Double or Nothing show. I didn't want the WWE titles out right now because I want us to focus on these guys. But at the end of the day, our show on fucking Wednesday is going to be about WWE again. You know what I mean? Because we like all wrestling. And I want everyone to like all wrestling. Quit creating that wall.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason.
As fans, performers, everything.
And the fans will read into the between the lines with you. You go and you smash a throne with a hammer, and fans go, yeah, fuck WWE. No. Like, what are you doing?
Why did you, yeah.
That could have been, instead of a yeah, fuck WWE, it could have been like, yeah, we fucking love Dusty Rhodes. If you had just fucking done something with a polka dot or something. After that, number 3 was, please don't focus on silly gimmicks and turn around and talk about how you're sports-centric and more realistic and believable than everybody else. You come off looking stupid. When you scream like that for people hugging. When you sell like that for Orange Cassidy's kicks. There's a way, I think, to sell what Orange Cassidy is doing without selling the devastation of kicks that aren't doing anything.
I think he could, I mean, it's taken away from what his character style is, but like the idea of a wrestler who couldn't give a fuck, then make him overpowered. I love how fucking physically gifted he is, because
right. I'm saying that the commentators don't have to say, oh my God, I can't believe Tommy Dreamer's still standing. When so much they could have been selling the same gimmick of, look at him trying to have a back and forth with Tommy Dreamer. He's trying to bring Tommy Dreamer's intensity down. You know what I mean? Like, there's a way to sell what he's doing without making you sound like an idiot. Because when I'm watching someone go like this, and I'm watching Tommy Dreamer go like this, and you go, oh my God, it's devastating. Are you trying to build Tommy Dreamer as being built of stone?
yeah.
Or are you trying to, do you believe Orange Cassidy's kicks, which have absolutely no oomph behind them, are powerful? Because you sound dumb.
Absolutely. And I mean, I do think you need a balance. I think maybe there's a realization of you need comedy there. You need levity within this, because anything that's purely just what it is, I wouldn't like, because I like the competitive aspect, but I don't like the sporting aspect. I never have. It gets annoying to me when you say these are sports entertainers. I'd rather hear them as wrestlers. I'd rather hear, because
I don't mind it.
What?
I don't mind it, the sports entertainment of it, and I don't mind the comedy of it. Orange Cassidy can be funny. Imagine if Corey Graves was calling Orange Cassidy. What would he be doing? He'd be laughing. I don't know what I'm watching. What is this? What is this guy doing? Questioning what you're seeing the way that you're questioning when you see it too. Question it. Don't buy into it in this weird opposite way, because then now you're part of the show in a different way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As a commentator, you're selling what's going on, but you're selling from a fan perspective. You're just watching and narrating. So, yeah, watch it and narrate it. What is he doing? What is this guy doing? He doesn't even do anything. And then when he gets closed down by Tommy Dreamer and he kicks back up, oh shit! You know what I mean?
Okay, he does have some moves. Damn.
Yeah. Oh wow, he wasn't even fazed by that. Like, maybe we're really gonna see stuff get going, and then he gets tossed down. It's like, oh man, I wanted to see where he was gonna go with that. You know what I mean? There's a way to talk about it that doesn't make you sound dumb.
And I know I keep marking out on New Japan, but like comedy in there it does occur.
It's possible.
Toru Yano does not look like a weak competitor. He looks like, and it's hilarious. Or Minoru Suzuki. I love Minoru Suzuki because even though he's not booked as a comedy person, it is the funniest shit ever as a character as a whole because Minoru Suzuki comes in, he just beats the shit out of people. And he doesn't care, and he's this little old angry fucker, but he just beats the shit out of people. And if the ref tries to stop him, he beats the shit out of the ref.
That's
and when
funny.
all the like young boys who are the rookies, like the NXT call-ups, try and pull him apart, he starts beating the shit out of young boys, and it's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a place for all that stuff. I just think there's a lot to do with, like I said, if you're the lyrics to this song, come on in. There's a way to talk about it, you know. I will say this: number 5 was about commentary. I do have number 4 before that, but since we're already in it, number 5 was commentary has to tighten up and also be believable. Screaming, "Oh my God!" when two friends hug undermines the real moments of humanity that JR is famous for. JR is absolutely famous for having that humanity approach to things. And then when he goes, "Oh my God," because two dudes hugged, it undermines all of that. Now, when you say that you were having honest emotions and his reaction to Moxley was real, you also have this moment where you couldn't have been more fucking gimmicked. So when am I supposed to believe that you're real or not? Just be honest. Just feel honest.
It feels like it's playing to the most inside wrestling fans who, in a sense, I am. It's kind of being a troll, being a dumbass, and like that's funny. But when I was a kid watching it, I didn't laugh at the dumb shit I laugh at now, and I kind of want to go back there. When I watch this, I kind of want to be a kid again, and I want to, see this reaction for it. And I want to see pissed off JR. I don't know why they're hugging in the damn ring.
Yeah.
Oh, big fucking dude, get the fuck out of the goddamn ring. Just that.
And I'm putting in here, calling Orange Cassidy taps as devastating strikes doesn't enhance the story. Call it what it is. He's lightly tapping them. Was it the way Conrad talked about it? He goes, he gets these guys to kind of like see how soft they can hit each other, and it's this other kind of contest. And then it like builds. So I mean, I think that there's a way to do it, and I just don't think that they've figured that out at all. And I get it; it's their first show; they'll get there, all that, blah blah blah. But they didn't present this like it's their first show.
And I've watched other Orange Cassidy matches where he doesn't do that, where he still doesn't care. And it was a dumbass gimmick. It was a dumbass comedy match of him versus this guy whose gimmick is that it's like a knockoff Joey Ryan. Something penis related.
Yeah.
And the fight is not even like Cassidy's in it, but he's going at specifically that junk, and he's going at it with force. And it's like, okay, cool. That's neat. Mm-hmm. The lightly tapping thing, like him and Christopher Daniels have this exchange where it's like that. That's funny because they're both just like, I don't care. And that's good. I like it when like somebody tries to whip from the ropes, he just falls. That's funnier than
for sure.
Like,
I think there's a space for it. I think that there's a possibility of it all working out. I think they haven't figured that out yet, and I just think that it just made them all sound really bad.
Yeah.
The last thing that was on there, my number 4, was create a balance of high spots. If we're getting 2 630s in 2 different matches, and those aren't the finishers, then we're going. What are we then going to build to? Mm-hmm. Like let high spots be more impactful. You're having people do 630s and people kick out and move on. You're having people do pretty crazy moves that have been established as being devastating and absolutely insane, and then you're moving on right away. What are you going to get to?
And I've never liked high spots. It's like a thing I've never. I mean, in some spaces they're okay, but I feel like there's too much reliance because they're acrobatic. Yeah, but you need power moves. I've always thought power moves look so much goddamn cooler. Yeah. The F5 now it's way overdone, but it looks cool as hell when I see Brock lift up The Rock and he just whips him. It's like, shit, that's tight.
The Rock bottom. He just scooped you up. So you'd have people running around being fucking spot fools, flying all over, and he could just catch you and then slam you.
The RKO. It's a powerful move. It is a spot move, but it's not this weird jumping one.
Yeah.
The last ride, when Kane was young, his chokeslam because the way he followed through with it. Yeah. Just look past the sidewalk slam.
Oh yeah.
I would love to see sidewalk slams.
A good sidewalk slam is sick.
I think what was it? The move that or Hangman Page's where he lifts the guy up and puts it on like an Alabama slam and like drops him back. I've been thinking about this. I think that'd be a great 2-part move where he does that, and then when he's on his knees, whips him forward into the Alabama Slam, like planted. I think that'd be way. I just think it'd be way cooler looking to me.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be really good. I agree, and that's why I think I even said last week that anybody who's interested in any of these wrestlers or putting together stuff, they should watch that Cesaro Ricochet match last week because I think it was an amazing balance of power versus speed,
Yes.
and it showed how those power moves can interact. You can have a slow, methodical wrestler with a flippy, high-flying motherfucker and have it make sense, look natural, feel real, and still have someone overcome the big guy.
Yeah.
Like, it was absolute... It was just perfection. It was such a perfect match. I think that... I don't know what Dave Meltzer matches get nowadays, but honestly, that was easily... That should have been rated higher than the Jericho Omega one. 100%. And I saw all of his star ratings come through, and I know he gave the Rhodes 5 stars, which was nice, and I don't disagree. But I do feel like the fact that the Battle Royal had like 3.5 stars was pretty fucking stupid. It made me, I felt when I watched it, when I looked at his star ratings, as soon as I saw that, I was like, all right, cool, you don't know what you're talking about. You love the things you love specifically without reason, and you're too critical or overly critical of the people you don't like you put on certain products.
Do you feel like it's almost like maybe Meltzer should be disqualified from reviewing this because these are people who know what Meltzer likes? So it's like going to class, having that class where you know what the professor likes. You do the right answer the right way, and they like you during class, so you get points for participation because you answered the right way.
Well, there's that, but I also think that there's no way that Meltzer was going to give it a bad review because of how much he's fucking bitter about WWE all the time.
And that's bullshit, and I hate that. That's just as bad. That shit, I think, is what he is. The fire to this bullshit. He's the spark to this, where it's the fans getting hyper involved, and it's just like, you know,
they buy into
PlayStation,
it.
Xbox, whatever, East Coast, West Coast hip hop in the 90s. It's that, and he's the spark there, and it's stupid. It just hurts everyone. There are terrible things in WWE, but it's not all shit. There are dumbass things in New Japan. It's not all fantastic.
Yeah, some weeks I watch Raw and I don't know why I fucking watched it. And some weeks I watch SmackDown and I can't stop smiling for 3 days because of how much I love wrestling.
When I saw the first Omega Jericho match, at New Japan, I was like, this is gonna be cool. And I was like, okay, that was that was really underwhelming. Why did I need to watch that? Why was that after Naito Okada?
Yeah, no, 100%. I do think there's room for a lot of wrestling in the world. And as long as you guys keep following and we start getting subscribers, then maybe we could talk about all of it forever, and that would be nice by me. If we could full-time just talk about wrestling, I'm sure that would be... we only stop streaming when wrestling's on TV. That'd be great. That's the idea.
Yeah.
So...
If down the road, if we get maybe a Gmail or something where we could have suggestions, but I think that'd be a really good idea too, because I've talked to you about a few ideas, and
yeah, I'm at Ref Marsh, at Ref Marsh on Twitter, at Marsh Ref on Instagram. I'm always up to listen to anybody who whatever got to say. Our number one fan, Stackhouse, he messages me from time to time, and he's even sent me a match that he allowed me to review, and it was great. I was really really touched by that, and it was really good match. But yeah, I'm always open up to suggestions, whatever you guys wanted to do, whatever you think we need to do different, whatever. I know this wasn't as goofy as some of our other shows. I really want to get through this stuff because ultimately I'm a little bummed about... It sounds weird to say, like, as much as I think it's great that it's getting a lot of positive press, I think that it's getting a lot of unhonest responses. And I think it's because the hype is so big. And it bums me out because I think that no one's going to grow if you tell them they're doing everything right when they're not. And I think that from what I heard talking to Cody and what he said at the thing after the show, he's really looking for some honest critiques. And he even said at one point, please hold us accountable. He goes, I'm only hearing that everything was great and I need critical feedback. Like he said those words at the cigar thing, and he goes, please let us know, hold us accountable. If no one holds us accountable, we won't succeed. Mm-hmm. And that's why I felt the need to come on here and talk about those things in that light. But I don't want to negate the idea or overshadow the idea that I thought it was a great show, an awesome first outing for any company. But these are the things that are going to make that come off wrong to either new fans or fans of a specific style of wrestling as well. I don't want you to alienate yourself from too many people because the name of the game is as many people as possible buying it.
Well, and you mentioned the constructive feedback is valid because if we're going to read anything into interviews we hear about Vince McMahon, I think for his biggest critique, he doesn't receive that. It's not allowed, it's not happening, and it's an echo chamber. And, you know, the product's good, but the best points for the product were the result of having that thrown in his face, losing out for 83 weeks, and then thinking, well, shit.
What was happening before he lost? Fucking Duke the Dumpster, the Goon. What were we getting? We were getting a lot of nothing. Until another company said, you have to reevaluate what you're doing, it was really going downhill, dude.
As wrestling fans, we're at a point where that can occur right now, and I think it is. I think
it can.
They're at the point where that's happening again on their end. We don't, in theory, have as bad as Duke the Dumpster Josie, but we have things that just fucking infuriate me every week. Why is this being wasted on? Why is airtime wasted on this?
Yes, exactly. But I think that the only way we make sure this doesn't go on for 83 weeks and die out is if we talk to AEW the same way we talk to WWE of we don't like this. This needs to change. This isn't okay. This is great. We need to tell AEW the same way we tell WWE what we don't like, because otherwise we're going to get another 83-week situation where we end up having what we love disappear or overshadowed. Mm-hmm. I want them both to succeed, man. And I don't think there's any reason why they can't.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. If you're not down with that, these guys got 2 words for you. NWO.
That'll be $20 for the signature kid.
Yeah. I will say that meeting Dustin in and of itself was one of the more powerful moments there. I got all choked up just talking to him and stuff. It was pretty great.
Yeah.
Really cool dude. He was really way cool. Way cooler than you'd think. So.
That's like Adam Savage. It's like, don't cry, goddammit.
You know the guy from Mythbusters?
Yeah, dude, I got a signature picture. It's fucking tight.
I believe it.
It's really cool.
I believe it.
Yeah.
He's got one show.
Hey.
What? No, he's cool. I think that's it for us tonight, though. Unless no one else brought up anything. So, hey guys, just one real quick snippet. We are about 6 followers away from hitting 50 followers. Once we hit 50, we become affiliate and get a subscribe button. Every single person who subscribes, the first 50 people who follow, those are different words. Every single one of our first 50 followers that help us in getting to affiliate is going to get a free poker chip. Wrestling on the Rocks poker chip in the mail. All you got to do is DM me at RefMarsh with your Twitch handle so I can know which one you are and your address, and I'll mail it straight to you. But until we hit 50, we're not mailing out shit. So,
and if you will help us out through acts of violence, I support that.
Yeah, we're all about violence here.
Yeah.
So with that, please tell everybody you can to give us put the I in following and the no in notifications. Get us to affiliate. We want that subscribe button. The only thing better than following is subscribing and getting free shit. Yes, that's the other thing. Thank you guys so much. We'll be back on the show on Wednesday. So we see you then.
Oh, man, I don't want to say that. I don't want to sound like a juggalo. Oh, God.
Did you do a juggalo thing?
I did a juggalo thing, and I'm not
Don't do that. Dude, do
No.
the old saw, dude.
Saw, dude.
Saw,
I said,
dude.
I feel mad now.
Yeah, you look stupid.
I do.